Welcome to Pick Me Up, I'm Scared, the podcast.
I'm your host, Madeline.
And I'm your co-host, Kenna.
All right, Kenna, housekeeping for the day before we start the episode.
Yes, first of all, thank you to everyone who supports us by listening here or supporting us on Patreon. And we are on Patreon at patreon.com/pickmeupimscared. And for $3 a month, you get access to 2 bonus episodes per month, little fun extras. We answer your questions. Well, I answer your questions for the most part. 90% of the time.
Yes.
And, you know, if you already subscribed to our Patreon before June, I believe, you should be locked in for life at that $2 a month.
Yes, and I actually just realized that the outros for our past few episodes have still said it was $2 a month, so I'm sorry for that.
Oopsie,
I recorded a new one, though. It's 3. Haha.
But thank you to everyone who supports us there. It helps us keep the show ad-free, because I think having ads on the show would be really funny.
It would be funny, like hypocritical, not funny, haha.
I think to us it would be like, haha, this is irony, but would be confusing.
Yeah, I think it'd be confusing for the general audience, for sure. I mean, you know, we can all hate capitalism, but we gotta survive it, I guess, at the end of the day.
But if you aren't supporting us there, that's okay. We love that you're here on the main.
Yes, totally. Also, I gotta say, the episodes on the Patreon, they're real loose. Mm-hmm. You're not getting the signature Madeline Pendleton info dump necessarily on Patreon.
Like them. I feel like, okay, you know how some people just like, I think about old talk radio.
Yes.
Like, you know how Howard Stern just talks for like 3 hours?
Yeah.
But we're not like Howard Stern. We're just like if 2 cool bros were talking.
Yeah, we're some cool bros. And usually we have a prompt of some kind over there.
Yeah, we did an episode where I go into the Marvel Universe, starting with Iron Man.
Yes, that was really cool.
And the military-industrial complex.
And we've been doing book club, obviously. But by the time this episode airs, I think book club's going to be done.
Yes. We also have had an episode, bonus episode about budgeting that comes with a handy spreadsheet.
Yes.
If that's something that you need help with. And yeah, the bonies, as we call them, they're stuff we see on social media, they're book clubs. Sometimes we have special guests. And I think we'll probably be doing a couple more where we kind of discuss more how-to stuff, like, you know, how to budget, how to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and if you are a subscriber on our Patreon, you can always give us show ideas either for our main or for bonus stuff you'd like to hear just on Patreon that we can have like little group convos about and stuff over there. It is a smaller little, more intimate crowd of like just 1,000 people over there. So we can definitely receive and take all of your input. So that's a good place to give us all of the show suggestions your heart desires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it for general housekeeping. Oh, I also wanted to say we do have an Instagram if you want to join us there. I think it's Pick Me Up, I'm Scared, the podcast or something. I'm going to look it up right now.
Pick Me Up, I'm Scared pod?
Yes, Pick Me Up, I'm Scared pod. That is what it is on Instagram. And our Instagram's not super, super thrilling, but you will get alerted when we post new episodes, and we post memes about the episodes, and sometimes they're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with that all out of the way, should we start the episode?
Sure.
All right, Kenna. Today's question to start the episode. Have you ever had a dog?
Yes.
Tell me about your dog.
Well, growing up, when I was very small, my family had a golden retriever that my mom got from her hairstylist.
Oh, I remember you told me the story once. Yeah,
and continue. The hairstylist was like she would like she bred like AKC golden retriever puppies, and my mom's like, "Oh, your dog is so good and so well behaved," and she's like, "Do you want her? I'll give her to you if you get her spayed."
Wow.
And that's how we got our purebred golden retriever.
Yeah, and the AKC, famously the American Kennel Club, right? And they are the ones who like keep track of like all the purebred dogs in the country.
Ginger was a very good dog.
Aw, that's so cute.
She was very, very good.
And you've had her for a long time.
Yes. From when I was like basically like a baby through elementary school.
Wow. And you guys didn't get another dog, though, after Ginger.
We did, I think, when I was in high school, but I kind of graduated, and then I think, like, the dog, my parents had it for a while, and they're like, we can't take care of this dog in our new house, so somebody else got the dog after that.
And you would be open to getting a dog now, right, as long as it was hypoallergenic?
If it were hypoallergenic, yeah, my landlord does not like pets, so I think I'd have to, like, I'd have to really convince her somehow by getting, like, a hairless dog.
Yeah, your landlord actually today met my new dog for the first time.
Oh, really?
They met through the fence, yes.
Oh, what did she think?
I think she was fine with it. She was like, her coat is very shiny. And I was like, it is.
Wait, did she touch her?
No, it was through the fence. It kind of lives next door to me, so... I like her. Weirdest sentence I'll ever say. I like her landlord a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
she's funny.
She's cool. She's just like an older woman who lives on her own and has an empty back out place that she rents to help supplement her Social Security every month.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's cool. Yeah. Well, you are famously the stepmom for one of our coworkers' dogs. There's that.
Yes, and for another dog, I'm the Wawa Whisperer.
Yeah, Chihuahuas love you.
Weirdly, like, Chihuahua mixes love me.
They love you. Yeah, because I remember I was saying, like, it took me a really long time to get to know our coworker's Chihuahua. Like, I didn't really understand her vibe until recently. And you were like, what are you talking about? She's so much personality. And I was like, I'm usually really good with dogs, but it just took a long time for me to really understand this one Chihuahua, evidently.
It's funny because my other friend's Chihuahua Terrier mix, I actually don't know what, like, she's some sort of, like, she basically looks like if a black lab and a Chihuahua had a baby.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very distinct looking worm.
Worm, yes.
And Worm hates everybody except for, like, her moms and me.
Yeah. That makes sense. So you're the Wawa Whisperer, and you would maybe get a Chinese crested hairless dog.
My friend had one, and it was really, really good.
I feel like I could see that dog for you.
Yeah, at this point, my allergies are so bad. I am allergic to dogs and cats, but mainly cats.
Right.
But I can stand dogs, like, as long as, like,
the environment's kept clean regularly.
Yeah, but yeah. I would probably want, for my allergy's sake, to get hypoallergenic. I have thought, because I lived with 2 hairless cats for a while, and they're kind of like dogs.
They are. They're a lot of work, but they are very dog-like from everything my friends have said. I've known 2 people who've had them.
Yeah, honestly, they're really good pets. I just, I don't like dealing with the litter box, frankly. And, like, I do really like hairless cats. They are greasy, though.
Yeah, I didn't know this. Nobody I knew who had hairless cats, when they were talking about, like, here's the difficult things you have to do. Here's all the maintenance they require. It's a high-maintenance pet, but it's great. Neither of them were like, and they're really greasy.
They are.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, you gotta put, like, you're supposed to put sunscreen on them. You're supposed to wash them, like, once a week, I think.
I did know about the sunscreen. I knew their skin needed to be, like, lathered and tended to.
But, like, even in California in the wintertime, they gotta wear a sweater.
Right. My friend has a hairless dog, and that dog also, the skin needs to be cared for.
Yeah, it's like, and this is just a theory I have. I mean, to me, the hairless cats are definitely indoor cats, mainly because
all cats are supposed to be indoor cats.
I learned this when I went to a bird show.
Yes, they're very bad for the natural ecology
they're
released.
Cats are actually really bad for the environment because they kill so many birds and insects and, like, little creatures.
They're supposed to be indoor animals, indoor pets, and I don't know anything about cats, but yeah, they're supposed to, like, they're happier indoor too. They're safer indoor, that's for sure. Some I know, like, have the desperate urge to go outside. Like, I had a roommate once, and we found a feral cat on the side of the freeway in Mississippi. And the cat, like, randomly just jumped into her arms as we were, like, outside. And we were like, whoa, this is so weird. But it was, like, a kitten, and it was clearly feral. And we were like, okay, I guess this is your cat now. And we went to, like, a 24-hour Walmart and got it a bunch of supplies and drove the cat home in my Kia from Mississippi. And that was just her cat.
Whoa.
And she was like my roommate. So this cat just lived with us, and I fucking loved this cat. This cat was so funny. I am also deathly allergic to cats. So
You are actually deathly allergic.
Yeah.
Like throat closing up allergic.
Yes, like throat closing up, I can't breathe, I'll die. Like a cat could take me out just by being in the same room as me and making eye contact, which I respect. I think that's really impressive for a cat. It'd be very easy for a cat to kill me. But yeah, I lived in a house with this cat, which was a challenge, obviously. But the cat was just like so chaotic and funny, and like the first thing it learned how to do at our house is use doorknobs to try to open doors. So it would stand on our kitchen counter and put its paws on the doorknob to the side door and just open the door and then escape into the yard. But it's like you're feral and there's coyotes all over here, like you will die, like you can't do this. So then we'd have to like catch the cat, bring it back inside, and you could just see the desperate yearning in the cat's face, like, why can't I go out there? And we would, you can't reason with it, right? Because you don't speak the same language. So you're trying to talk to the cat in human speak, and the cat's trying to talk to you in cat speak, and you're like, there's coyotes out there, you'll die. There's birds out there, you'll fuck them up. It's gonna be bad for everybody. You gotta stay inside this domicile. And the cat's just looking at you like, I'm gonna die in here, you know? And you're like, I don't know how to make you explain this. So then the compromise is that my friend had to become one of those leash cat people.
I have walked a cat, one of the hairless cats we used to take on walks, because it would always try to get out. So we're just like, fine, we're just gonna walk you. And what would ultimately happen is people were like very weirded out because they thought we had shaved a dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, she got a cat harness and very, very long leash, and she would go sit outside we had this like little, it's really big actually. We had a massive patio at that house. And she would go sit outside with the cat just holding the end of this really long leash. And the cat would just like go wild on the side patio, and then she'd take it inside. And she was like, that's your outside time.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Anyway, I'm not a cat person, mostly because they'll kill me. Also because of a bad experience with my aunt's cat named Kit Kat when I was 4 or 5 that tried to kill me.
Oh, my grandma's cat tried to kill me when I was a baby. That's why I still have scars on my face.
Oh, I've never noticed.
They thought that they were, my grandma thought that she was going to have to get me plastic surgery.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cats, I respect them. They're hostile. But I grew up in dog houses. I grew up with dogs, not in a literal dog house in someone's backyard. It was not the nature of my specific
or the
childhood
metaphorical dog house.
No, I was not. Maybe that one by high school, but no. As a kid and into high school, I definitely grew up with dogs. My dad had a pit bull before I was born, and he had that dog until I was maybe 7 or 8. His name was Caesar.
Cute.
And Caesar was so sweet, such a good dog, a huge dog, brindled, beautiful. And he took care of me. He was like so sweet to me. He would lick my face. He would, when I had to live at my grandma's house, sometimes my dad and I had to live at my grandma's house, he would sleep spread out across the foot of the couch, like the pull-out couch that I slept on, and he would guard me while I slept. And if anybody got up in the middle of the night, he'd be really scary and bark at them and try to protect me while I was sleeping.
Cute.
He was very sweet. And then he died, and my dad and I got together a rat terrier named Reggie. It was just the wildest little creature. This thing was bonkers, off the wall, chaotic, high energy.
As terriers are kind of known to be.
Yes, terriers are very high energy, very playful, very cute, very high energy. And then I moved in with my mom, and she had a Scottish Terrier mix named Dorothy, who was tragically hit by a car. It was really, really sad when I was in high school. And then my mom got a dachshund, and another dachshund, and another dachshund. And then there was just a herd of miniature dachshunds in the house.
Oh, they're miniatures.
Yeah.
So they're extra small?
Yeah, they're like 10 pounds.
Whoa, so you can pick them up with one hand?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Modog was 13 pounds,
Uh-huh.
who you met. My dachshund I ended up getting. Fork, 11 pounds. I'll explain these dachshunds in a moment. Yeah. But these were just 3 very tiny dachshunds, and their names were Alfred, Sheila, and Molly.
Okay.
But Molly spelled like you maul something. M-A-U-L-I-E.
That's really good.
Yeah, because you remember, my mom's a goth chick. So Sheila was named after Sheila Take a Bow, the Smith
Whoa,
song.
and what's Alfred?
I don't remember what Alfred was named after.
I'm like, Batman's butler?
No, my mom wouldn't watch Batman. I mean, maybe because what's his face directed it? Spooky guy. Tim Burton. So maybe she would. Who knows? But yeah, Sheila was my favorite out of them because she was super chubby and she walked a little like do 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 do, and she didn't want to hang out with the other dogs, so she would just hang out with me all day. And I was like, this dog's great. So yeah, I moved out of my family's house as a teenager, and it was only a few years before I was like, fuck, I need a dog. I can't live in a house without a dog. I'd never lived in a house without a dog before, and it felt really lonely. So at 19 or 20, I adopted my beloved dachshund Mo Dog, who recently passed away at around 16 years old. She was just shy of 16.
I know, almost.
I know.
Mo was so good.
She was such a good dog. She was like, we were so fucking bonded, man. I loved her. And she had been, I suspect, a breeder reject because she was just dropped off in a box with a litter mate on a doorstep. There are a lot of dog breeders where I'm from in Fresno, and they usually have leftover dogs that they can't sell for whatever reason, and they usually do very not great things with them. Yeah, so this was actually a kindness that they just put her and a litter mate in a box and left her somewhere. And yeah, I ended up getting her, and she lived a good dachshundy life, 16 years or whatever, and now, of course, I just adopted a new rescue dachshund puppy who was named Darla when I got her, but I nicknamed her Fork. And if you've heard the past few episodes, you've heard Fork in the background making noise because she's very baby energy. She's around a year old. I've had her around a month, and she is very still baby.
It's really cute, though.
It's really cute. She's such a puppy. She came from a really nice woman that I refer to as her mom, who bought her purebred, but then 9 months into having her was like, this is a lot more work than I realistically have time for. My husband isn't really helping me, and I just feel like she could be with somebody who could give her more time and attention. And we met on this website that links people trying to get rid of their pets with people who are trying to adopt pets. So there's usually like a countdown timer. It's like, this dog's going to go to the shelter on this day. So if you want her before then, get her. And yeah, this is the story. I think that maybe told on our... Did I tell the story on our bonus episode about the most embarrassing part about me getting Fork?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I'll tell it here. The most embarrassing part is that I went on this website. It was called getyourpet.com. And when she popped up, Darla, I looked at her pictures every single day for apparently hours while I was laying in bed trying to sleep, and there were only like 3 pictures, and I would just look at all of them. I did not realize this, but that woman could see that I was looking at these photos.
So I think you said this at work.
Yes, so when I went to get her, the woman was like, I knew you would be the one, because like 97% of all of the views were just you. And I was like, you could see that? That's so embarrassing. Yeah, I was literally laying in bed just staring at her like, this is going to be my dog. I could tell. But yeah. Anyway, now I've had Fork for a month and she's making progress. She's doing well. She's almost fully potty trained. She's working on her separation anxiety, which is admittedly really bad.
Yeah.
She makes the noises kind of.
And they're loud.
And they're like, someone described them like a dying turkey.
It's kind of like, when you see in videos where dogs are like,
yeah,
but louder.
And she's not almost saying she loves anybody. She's like, I want us all to die now and I'll take you all out with me. Yeah, that's what happens if I leave the room. She's very bonded with me. So we got to work on that. And we got to work on the barking. She likes to bark a lot. And then work on tricks and sitting and staying and all that. But that's one of the dogs in the house. And then the other is obviously Georgie.
Yeah.
Georgie's the pit bull.
Yeah, she's really cute.
She's so cute. We adopted her from a no-kill shelter. We got her the no-kill shelter got her the day she was supposed to be euthanized. It was like her last day.
Oh, wow.
No-kill shelter got her, and then they were like, we're going to be able to find this dog a home. She's like the sweetest dog ever. And then nobody adopted her from the no-kill shelter for 6 months.
Whoa.
I know. I can't imagine. You've met Georgie. I can't imagine anyone not wanting her.
She's really sweet.
She's so sweet, so cute, so playful.
She still has puppy energy.
She does, and she's like 8 now by this point.
Yeah, I see her playing with Fork, and I'm like, oh my god.
And she's such a good big sister to Fork. She's all gentle.
Aww.
She's so nice. She's honestly the perfect dog. Like, she loves kids and babies. She used to go to work with my boyfriend when we worked retail. He worked retail at a surf shop. She would hang out at the surf shop all day. She'd lick the feet of babies in their strollers when they'd come in. She'd play with the other dogs. She loves dogs. She does just let Fork brutalize her when they play. Like, Fork bites her all over, tugs her ears, jumps on her back, humps her for dominance, and Georgie's just like, yeah, all right.
And Fork's so little.
I know. And Fork's like, I'm gonna fucking take you on. And Georgie's just like, okay.
And like, we're all thinking like, sure, buddy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you could take Georgie, definitely. Yeah, if she wanted to, she could kill Fork with like one motion of her paw. But no, she's just super sweet. She's aware of the size difference. She's very, just kind. Even with me, sometimes Georgie will play a bit too rough. Like, she will play with me like she would with my boyfriend, who's bigger than me. So when she does it, I make like a little whimper noise. I'm like, oh, And then Georgie always is like, oh, and then like licks me to apologize. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She's like so nice. And when we got her, obviously, you know this, Kenna, she had another dog's poop on her face. Because she's so submissive, she just let another dog poop on her face.
Aww.
Yeah.
Georgie.
I know. And she's really cute. She's a pit bull, yes. She's really small, though. She weighs like 35 pounds. She's really short. Yeah. And also, this is a funny thing. I don't know if I told you this because this was like a secret shame thing. So you know how after Modog died last month, I got really sad and depressed, and I allowed myself to just spend money irresponsibly from my savings account for a month to cope with the sadness? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some people at work called this "fuck it, we ball" month, and I was just like, I'm spending money because I'm sad. Okay, so part of this spending that I did, which is very irresponsible, and I don't advise it, but I guess that's what savings accounts are for, is I drunkenly spent $100 on a doggy DNA test for Georgie.
Nice.
Yeah. And I don't know what I fucking expected.
I was like, I spent, like, in my mind, I was like, did you buy a dog?
No. No, I would never buy a dog. No. Adopt a shop. No, I bought the dog DNA test, and the results came in literally yesterday, and I don't know what I expected, but it's just like, yep, she's a pit bull.
Just like 100%?
Okay, well, so pit bull's not actually a breed. It's like an umbrella category for like 4 different breeds.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Right. So she is just 3 different types of pit bull breed. So she's 45% American Pit Bull Terrier. She's 30% American Staffordshire Terrier. And she's 25% American Bully. So she's 3 different types of pit bull dogs.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was a total waste of money. I don't know what I fucking expected.
And when you're like, I felt such shame, I'm like, oh, it was just $100 DNA test.
Yeah,
like,
it was $100
It wasn't
DNA test.
like, I bought $1,200 shoes. Or
no.
I bought, like, in my mind, I'm like, you bought a whole dog, and then you were like, I did a bad thing, and then...
Oh, for secretly a purchased dog and lying and telling everyone she's a year old.
No, but
and
I
was
wouldn't
like,
think
she
that,
looks really small.
But the look on your face then was like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, you spent $100.
Yeah, I spent $100.
But the look on your face was like, I did something so out of character.
Well, the thing about the $100 is that it was part of a pattern of events. It was a pattern of expenses.
Whatever.
Okay.
It was Fuck It, We Ball month.
Yeah. So I did this stupid test. I just got the results in yesterday. I've been feeling super sentimental about Modog. I miss her so much. I've been feeling really happy about Fork. And I just decided that, this week's episode may be in tribute to all the dogs I have loved.
Aww.
And all the Wawas Kenna has stepmommed.
Yes.
We do an episode about dogs.
Yay.
Yeah.
The doggies.
The doggies. So I thought I would start with domestication. Do you know anything about dog domestication, Kenna?
No. I recently learned, though, that pigeons are domesticated.
Really?
You can just go pick up a pigeon.
Oh, that makes sense. Like, they shouldn't fear humans because then they wouldn't get food, right?
It's like a whole thing, but like people used to use pigeons a lot. That's why they were like messenger pigeons and stuff. But like, it's so fun because you see people on TikTok like, I'm just gonna try this, and they'll just pick up a pigeon. The pigeon's just like, whoo.
Oh, that's actually kind of sweet.
I have been very tempted to buy a pigeon from up the street.
Well, yeah, there is, by our work, which is also in the neighborhood Kenna and I live in, there is a house where they just sell pigeons from their backyard.
They're only $40.
$40? I don't...
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know if that's a good price or a bad price, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I think it's a good price.
You think it's a good... What's the lifespan on a pigeon? How long are those things? Birds live a long time.
Yeah, my friend's pigeon lived to be... I guess pigeons... Or not pigeons. My friend's parrot lived to be 50. But,
yeah.
like, parrots can, like, live, like, human lifetimes. But most in captivity live probably around, like, 50, 60 years.
So, but a pigeon isn't gonna... I gotta look this up.
How long does a pigeon live?
How long does a pigeon live in captivity as a pet?
One of the models at our work got a pigeon. And it is very, very cute.
Yeah.
But the thing about living with birds is they do poop everywhere. That is my experience.
Okay, so in urban areas, their version of the wild, pigeons live 3 to 5 years. Most of them live 2 to 3 years. But domesticated, they can live over 15 years.
Yeah, that's that's dog lifetime.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
And, but I think that my boyfriend, would die if I got a bird.
Well, yeah, because the birds, they bond with you. They're super attached to you. He's gonna have to fight the pigeon for your
Oh,
affections.
this happened to my best friend, who we lived with for a while. She had this pigeon since not pigeon, sorry, I keep saying pigeon because I'm thinking about pigeons. She had this parrot since she was 16, and she rescued it from, like, this, like, kind of abusive situation. And I don't know, I think she rescued it. You know, I think she got it with permission.
Yeah.
But so she's had this parrot for almost 30 years.
So wild.
You know, because she's a little bit older than me. She's in her 40s. And she's been with her husband for like 15 years at least. And so the bird always hated her husband, like fucking hated him, loved her. Yeah. Oh my God. But like, and it's funny because like, he was like, I live with you every day. You're still biting me every single day. And like, but like at the end of Birdie's life, she had a stroke and she wasn't doing so good. And I think she started feeling less some type of way about my friend's husband.
Territorial.
But when she died, he was the one who had a meltdown because he was like, it was me and Birdie competing for affection. Aww. Yeah, it was really sad. It was like, but it was so funny because like I thought they hated each other, but secretly they loved each other.
Yeah, they were family, even if
I know. I even think about it. I'm like,
so
oh my God.
Sad.
But yeah, birds get attached.
Yeah, they really do. Well, I didn't realize pigeons were domesticated, but dogs obviously domesticated wolves, right? We all know that.
Really?
Dogs domesticated wolves.
Oh, I thought that they were a different thing.
Well, here's the thing. We domesticated them so well that they became a different thing.
Interesting. So we did an evolution?
We evolved the wolf into the dog. So those memes you see that are like a dog and a wolf, and it's like maybe like a pug wearing like a birthday hat and looking ridiculous, and then it's like side by side with like a wolf in the wild. And it's like, what did we do to you? You know? Have you seen these?
Yes. Okay, I think that some of these memes I don't know where, you know how like people will be like, the dolphin evolved into the hippopotamus. And you're like, huh?
Wait, what?
I don't know. You know how you just be like, these are what, like, this is what turned into a hippo, or this is what turned into a dolphin. Like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know, maybe dogs are hippos.
Okay.
Okay, full disclosure, I am terrible at biology. That is my only science subject besides math that I am really, really bad at. I just don't get it.
I mean, I feel like maybe you accidentally invented a cute new thing. Like maybe we could have like toy hippos, you know, like toy-sized hippos, like a toy poodle.
Hippos are very dangerous.
Yeah, I actually know this because one time I had to go to zoo camp and I was assigned to help feed and clean the hippo.
Oh, they're super fucking dangerous.
Yeah, they're really aggressive. But if you had a little one, like the size of a wawa,
I think they're still
You could bite your hand off.
I think that it would bite your hand off for
Interesting.
Sure. Haven't you ever seen a hippo with a watermelon?
Yes, I have. I've fed a hippo watermelon before.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How did I not know this about
you?
Zoo
camp, man. I got in trouble one year for sneaking out of the house, and my mom thought a really funny punishment would be to send me to zoo camp.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm punk rock. You can't send me to zoo camp. And she was like, Why?
How old are you?
I'm like the summer in between 7th and 8th grade.
That's really funny because at that time, because you're what, like 12, 13?
12, 13. I was smoking weed already. I had purple hair.
And then you have to go to zoo camp.
I gotta go to zoo camp. But I remember this because I was somehow the coolest person at zoo camp. And I remember I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so popular at zoo camp. I've never been this popular in my life. And it was like this really I was just like, I didn't even realize it was happening because I didn't expect it. But then like at lunch, I like sat down and everyone's like trying to sit next to me. And I looked around and I was like, oh, am I that bitch of zoo camp? Like, oh, and everyone was like asking me questions. Like, what kind of music do you listen to, Madeline? What school do you go to? Where'd you get your pants? Oh, I like your hair. Your parents let you dye your hair that color? That's so cool. Maybe I should have my hair that color. And I'm like, I'm their god. They were all just a bunch of nerds, you know? So
and then they became cool nerds.
Yeah, I made them cool nerds. But I did, yeah. I looked over the hippopotamuses for half of zoo camp, and then the elephants for the other half.
Oh, elephants would be cool.
Now, they were also very messy and big. And the funny thing is, like, in zoo camp, you had to, like, draw sticks to see, like, what animals you got assigned. And they're like, some people get really unfair ones, like the elephants or the hippopotamus. So, you know, you draw two and we switch halfway through so no one's stuck with the bad one all year. And I drew literally the two worst ones.
Really?
Yeah. They were a lot of work.
I would think that elephants would be cool, but in my mind, okay, so when I was younger, I had to take care of horses. So in my mind, elephants similar to horses, you just never walk behind them.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere near them. The elephants.
They'll fuck you up.
They are massive. And
people don't realize that horses will also fuck you up. In my family cemetery in Colorado, there are probably more than 5 relatives who have been murdered by horses.
Yeah, I can see that. I respect and fear a horse like the ocean.
Yeah. I feel like this is how Coloradan I am.
You're like, of course I have family members who died via horse. And I'm like, I don't even know if I've had a family member see a horse. I don't, that's not...
I forget. Sometimes I just forget. I'm like, it's like those bumper stickers. It's a Colorado thing.
Death by horse. It's a Colorado thing. Yeah, no. So... the domestication of dogs, right, obviously thousands of years ago, we didn't have wild dachshunds roaming the mountains of Germany. And
that would be funny,
it'd
though.
It'd be so cool, though, yeah. And we also didn't have, like, packs of feral poodles galloping across the plains of France. Like, none of this was happening.
Oh. Wait, in French, like, oh.
Oh. Oh. Poodle. How you say poodle?
I don't know. We looked up how to say chihuahua in French.
Did we? I don't know if I was there.
This is that weird because we were just wondering, like,
I remember. Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. It's the same.
It's the same, yeah. No, but dogs did. They descended from wolves, and we actually kind of have a timeline for how we think this happened. And it started a really fucking long time ago. Like, we're talking 38,000 BC.
Whoa.
So if we go back from, like, 38,000 to 25,000 BC, this is where all the good stuff started happening. So, genetic evidence suggests dogs split from their wolf ancestors between 27,000 to 40,000 years ago. That's when the first split happened.
Wow.
And around this time, we got Cro-Magnon man, right? He's flourishing. He's traveling from Near East area, which is like the Mediterranean, so kind of like Western Asia, Southeastern Europe, and North Africa, into Europe. And remember, you know, the whole planet looks different. That's how old it is. The ice caps have melted different. So there's certain things that, like the Bering Strait, I don't even think existed at this time. So early man was living, hunting, and gathering. And we know from like cave paintings, right, humans were recording their hunting activity with pictorials. But we also know it wasn't too much after this that they also started recording themselves with dogs.
Wow.
Yeah, painting. You can see like all these paintings of people with dogs. So around this time though, 38,000 to 25,000 BC, most of northern Eurasia was covered in ice sheets. So both humans and wolves were the top predators of the icy climates, and they had to compete with each other for food.
Wow.
But unlike humans, wolves were able to survive on nothing but lean meat, which contained mostly protein. So humans couldn't do that. We're omnivores.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of theories about how and why the domestication initially happened, but one of them actually has to do with this meat thing. So Maria Lahtinen from the Finnish Food Authority in Helsinki thinks that humans having a surplus of meat is actually responsible for the ultimate domestication of wolves. So she said, we, meaning humans, are not fully adapted to eat meat, unlike wolves. There are limits to how much protein our bodies can handle. So we have to eat other food groups, such as fat, as well. So that would mean we naturally would have meat left over after hunting. And New Scientist talked about this too, about kind of what she did based off this premise. She had this idea and she's like, I want to look into this a little more. So this is from New Scientist. Her team calculated how much food was available during Arctic winters based on the prey species living there. They found there was an excess of lean meat, suggesting human hunters would have ended up with more of this than they could consume. Wolves could have eaten the surplus, implying the two species weren't in competition during the harsh winters. Instead, humans could have shared lean meat with wolves without losing out themselves. Lahtinen suggests that hunter-gatherers may have taken in orphaned wolf pups, perhaps viewing them a bit like pets, and fed them on the spare lean meat. They probably didn't have any long-term goal in mind, but the tamed wolves would have later proved to be useful hunting partners, reinforcing the domestication. They must have been very attractive for hunter-gatherers to keep, says Lahtinen. So, there's been a lot of debate about whether this domestication first occurred, like, in Europe or, like, in Asia. Remember, it's kind of like Eurasia we're thinking about as a continent. Some people think it might have happened more on the Europe side. Other people think it might have happened in Asia. But recent DNA analysis actually shows that there's a deep split in the family tree between European and Asian dogs, and Laurent France at the University of Oxford has found results indicating that dogs were originally domesticated totally separately from two different wolf populations in both the eastern and western halves of Eurasia.
Whoa, like around the same time?
Around the same time. And archaeological evidence totally backs this up. We see ancient dog remains toward the east sides and towards the west sides, but not in the middle for that time period. Yeah. So basically, domesticating wolves made so much sense that humans in two totally different parts of the world started doing it, around the same time.
Wow, interesting. Like,
Yep.
now I'm like, which dogs? But then I'm like, but they're wolves still.
Yeah, they're wolves still. They're not dogs yet. And meanwhile, there's also this natural selection process going on, too. So Fran was talking about this and was like, wolves that were less wary of humans were more likely to come closer to the camps and become domesticated. So this implies that dogs might have, in part, chosen to become domesticated as well, the way like cats did.
Yeah.
Or at least they had a genetic mutation that made them more social with humans and open to it. So this hypersociability might be something similar to what we call Williams syndrome in humans, which is characterized by a lot of different traits, but one of them is extreme sociability.
What? It's a syndrome?
Yeah, it's a syndrome. It comes along with a lot of other things too. But they think maybe there was a genetic mutation like that in some wolves where they like didn't have the fear you need to stay alive. And they were just like, hi, I'm friendly. And those are the ones that end up getting taken in. So maybe dogs are descended from this specific type of wolf that had a genetic mutation, making it more like affable to humans.
Interesting.
So an interesting thing about this is that a main difference between dogs and wolves today is linked to that sociability. Like even if wolves today are raised with humans from birth, they will never become as close to people the way that dogs do.
Interesting. I feel like I think I knew this.
Yeah, they won't even look at your face if you're a human the way dogs do. Dogs are constantly looking at humans for cues. Wolves are just like, yeah, whatever, you're there. So, like, the best you can hope for if you raise a wolf from a puppy is that, like, it won't attack you.
Whoa.
But it's never going to be like your friend the way that dogs did. So this would kind of be the relationship humans first had with wolves. They'd be like, hey, what's up? We can coexist in the same space. But it's not like dogs are today. So New Scientist talked about this too, and they said Bridget von Holt at Princeton University in New Jersey and her colleagues linked this hypersociability to a 28 gene stretch of the dog genome that includes canine versions, of the genes responsible for Williams syndrome, a human disorder characterized by extreme sociability. To find out whether they do, Von Holt and her team tested the behavior of 18 domestic dogs and 10 wolves, all of which had been raised identically with constant human contact. Each animal was scored for its hypersociability towards humans, and as expected, the dogs scored higher than the wolves. The researchers then sequenced the key region of each animal's genome in fine detail and searched for structural variations, deletions or insertions of genetic material that seemed to match well with their social behavior. And they found 4, including 2 in genes called GTF21 and GTF21RD1. And these genes are known to cause I think it's GTF2I? Is that? I thought it was called Gattaca, but there's no I in Gattaca.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, so I can't tell if I wrote a 1 or an I, so that's a fun game for us. But whatever they are, the genes are known to cause the hypersociability involved in Williams syndrome in humans. And one of them has also been shown to cause hypersociability in mice.
Interesting.
Yes, so Von Holt's team also looked for the same hypersociability gene variants in a larger sample of dogs, non-domesticated wolves, and coyotes. And they found them in both dogs and wolves, but none in the more distantly related coyotes, which suggests that they were already present in wolves and they were preferentially selected in the evolution of dogs. So we think maybe this is what happened. There was some sort of genetic component that did make some wolves more social, maybe too social for their survival instincts, what they should have been, but it just so happened that it was a symbiotic dynamic with humans, and then those are the types of wolves from which dogs evolved. So basically, the friendliest wolves were more likely to feel comfortable interacting with people, and people then saw benefits to getting as many wolves as possible to help them hunt because it aided in their hunting and it made them more successful over competitors if they could work together.
Yeah, plus then you have a buddy.
Then you got a cool buddy. And many theories indicate also that some wolves began following roaming human hunting groups early on to take advantage of the large carcasses that would be left behind after the hunts. And that would further solidify the link between wolves and humans when it came to acquiring food. So we had probably a lot of things happening. And if we want to see how early bonds between humans and wolves were formed, we can actually look at something interesting happening in nature here on Earth today, which is with a type of baboon called a gelada and the Ethiopian wolf.
Okay.
All right, so the wolves in the Gauss Plateau of the highlands of north-central Ethiopia, they're carnivores, and they will sometimes prey on sheep and goats, which are around the same size as those Galata baboons. I said balloons, baboons. You know, those balloons. But these specific type of wolves have not been observed regularly preying on the monkeys. It would be like really, really rare for one of them to attack a monkey. They just don't do it. And the monkeys know this, and they do not display any fear when they're around these wolves. They're just like, yeah, those are our wolf buddies. We're fine. They coexist in the same area. They hang out next to each other. We're talking for hours. And usually the wolves are not attacking the monkeys, and the monkeys don't even think that there's a chance they will. They don't run. They don't freak out. But when feral dogs approach the monkeys freak out. They immediately run to the cliffs for safety. They're like, those dogs are aggressive. They're going to hunt us. And they're right. The dogs do. So the fact that the monkeys are showing different behavior between the two leads scientists to understand, like, it doesn't even occur to them that these wolves are going to attack them. The wolves aren't going to attack them. And they know that. They encounter them all the time, and they know they're safe around the wolves. So why aren't the wolves attacking them? The wolves are attacking other similarly sized things. We know that other, like, canines, like these feral dogs, are able to attack them and eat them. So it's not like a matter of if they could or couldn't.
And it's not like the monkeys taste bad.
No, those feral dogs are going for it. They gotta taste good, right? So not only are these wolves not aggressive in contrast to the feral dog packs, they even go out of their way to intentionally display non-threatening behavior to the monkeys, to signify to them, like, we are not going to hurt you. They, like, try to communicate this to the monkeys. Even when hunting for rodents near the monkeys, they will avoid using their standard zigzag predatory hunting patterns, like with running. And that indicates that they're hanging out with the monkeys on purpose, and they're intentionally cooling it down to make sure the monkeys are chill.
Wow.
Right. So scientists found out that these wolves learned that for some reason it was easier to hunt for rodents around the monkey herds. So when hunting for rodents near the monkeys, they were able to capture 67% of the rodents they went after. But if they hunted for rodents not near the monkeys, they could only get like 1 in 4, like 25% outside of the pack. So the wolves are kind of there like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but it's like a wolf in monkey clothing. But instead of attacking the big monkeys, which would be more food, they just stick to the rodents. They're like, yeah, I could go for a monkey today, and then they'd be afraid of me and then run away. Or I can consistently go into the monkey packs, and the rodents will think I'm a monkey and not there to mess with them.
Wow.
And then I can just eat as many rodents as I want.
Wow.
Right. And if a wolf does get out of line, you know, scientists watched one actually try to hunt a young monkey one time. And the other monkeys attacked it and forced it to drop the baby. They were like, you don't fucking do that. What's wrong with you? And then they exiled it from the community. They drove it away. And when it tried to come back around, they were like, you fucked up, go. And then he was like, okay, bye. And he left. Yeah. And they did community justice on the wolf that stepped out of line. And the other wolves were like, we're not helping you. You don't fuck with the monkeys. Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, and this is kind of how scientists think maybe early domestication of wolves with humans might have gone. At first, they cohabitate in certain areas. They learn to live with each other. And then one species or both will begin to see benefits to the dynamic. And then ultimately a symbiotic relationship of some kind is developing. And then eventually domestication takes over. And this relationship that we developed with, you know, these wolves that later became dogs might have given us the competitive advantage over Neanderthals as humans later entered Europe. Because it would give us that advantage when hunting because we were able to hunt with our little astute wolf friends by our side. Right. So that gets us to around 12,000 to 4,000 BC. And by 12,000 BC, we're in the Stone Age. Scientists suspect dogs by this point were pretty solidified in human life. Like, by this point, they've made the full transition from wolf to dog, and they're a huge part of human existence. We have this one ancient dog burial site that a lot of scientists use as evidence of this, and it's called the Bonn Oberkassel dog. But it actually turned out to be the burial of 2 dogs, one older and one younger. They just couldn't tell at first because of the remains. So this burial site was found in Germany, and the younger dog's remains show that it experienced several bouts of potentially lethal illness, but it survived, indicating that its human companions cared for it and nursed it back to health. And given the type of illness it was, the dog would have had to be kept warm for different sequences of 6 weeks at a time, and given constant water and food, being cleaned up of diarrhea, vomit, and excess saliva, so nothing got like bacteria everywhere and hurt it further. Like, this dog needed to be cared and nurtured back to health, and it was by a human. And the dog's remains were ultimately found in a burial site alongside the remains of a man in his 40s and a woman in her 20s, which they suspect was this dog's family. It was his people. And some scientists use the existence of this Bonn Oberkassel dog burial site to prove that early dogs were always more like pets than they were just tools to improve hunting. Like maybe that was the initial benefit when they were still wolves, but by the time they were fully domesticated and became these new creatures, dogs, which we'll get into, at this point people were just always viewing them like companions. And this is talked about in this paper in the Journal of Archaeological Science from 2018, where the authors say, early dogs may have been regarded and treated as a pet from their very beginning, already in the Pleistocene era, you know that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our argument is based on the pathology diagnosed in the Bonn Oberkassel dogs. So the humans are thought to have been deliberately buried together with their dogs like a family. And humans were bringing, at this time, Asian dogs westward and European dogs eastward, and they were mixing, they were partially replacing each other. And this is where lineages started to get mixed as dogs became more popular everywhere spread out across the land. So today, fun fact, few modern dogs have either pure European or pure Asian roots, but there are some, but most are a mix of the two. Mm-hmm. But there is like an example of a dog that would have like pure Asian lineage would be the Tibetan Mastiff. That's one. Oh. And a dog that might have like pure ancient European lineage would be a German Shepherd.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are also other dogs like the Husky or the Shar-Pei or the Spitz that are thought to have descended from a now extinct Taimyr wolf in northern Siberia too. This is what people are thinking now, making them uniquely equipped for the cold weather. So that means that most people think dog ancestry can actually probably be traced to three major ancestral lineages. A Western Eurasian lineage found mostly in European, Indian, and African dogs. An East Asian lineage, which is like dingoes, for example. And then an Arctic lineage, which is like Huskies and ancient American dogs. So by 9000 BC, dog DNA starts to appear distinctly different than wolf DNA, even at cursory glances. So before they found this like dog burial site, people actually thought maybe 9000 BC is just like when dogs popped up on the scene, because that's when everybody looking at DNA stuff is like, this is obviously different than a wolf. But then they're like, oh no, this is when it was easy to tell they were different because the DNA had really shifted in a lot of ways. Obviously today, dogs still have some genetic markers tying them to wolves. Georgie's DNA test, for example, revealed 1.3% genetic makeup reminiscent of her wolf ancestors.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's actually higher than average, because usually average is like 0.5 to 1%.
Interesting.
Right. But some dogs, the ones that have the most like ancestral wolfy DNA lineage, that would be like 5%.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the earliest dog burial site, though, in the Americas is actually at Danger Cave in Utah, my favorite state. And it dates back to around 9000 BC as well, when we really start to see this dog DNA being a lot different. And that dog there is likely a descendant of Asian dogs. Also interesting, the hybrid black wolf is found in the Americas, and that is actually evidence of the process of domestication of wolves into dogs, because black fur discoloration is a dog characteristic, not originally found in wolves.
Whoa.
Yeah. So by 5500 BC, agriculture is happening. There's like villages are settling. This is happening in Europe. And we start to see dogs pop up in households as pet, but also just like sometimes as village dogs that freely run around the town and they breed around the towns. And dogs adapted also to increase starch in their diets because of this, because this is kind of the food that was shifting along. And we can trace specific mitochondrial signatures in dog DNA for that region at that time. Also specific ones in other regions too, which is pretty cool. Like we see that in North American Arctic, Paleo-Inuit groups have the specific type of dog they're hanging out with. The first dogs to arrive in New Zealand did so with the newly arriving Polynesians. They've got their own kind of dog style. And then different dog types start kind of evolving from there. So when people start traveling, they bring their dogs with them. And wherever you see people, you start to see dogs at this point in human history, which is pretty cool because that means they've always been like our little familiars, our little friends. Like Fork is part of a long lineage of dog buddies hanging out with people through the ages, just like Modog was before her. Aww. And dogs then are just as much a part of human history and the human experience as people are because they've always been there with us. And by the late Mesolithic and early Neolithic era, some dogs were even awarded personhood, like treated equally to fellow humans. One dog burial site revealed a dog in Siberia, which was a middle-aged dog that suffered injuries to its spine from which it recovered, which always indicates somebody cared for it. And it was buried in a formal cemetery alongside people in the year 4000 BC, just like a human would have.
Wow.
Yeah. So today, dogs are evolved, right, to be companions with humans in almost every sense of the word. They've developed alongside us. Like, as humans developed as a species, dogs developed as a species too, in companionship with us, to serve, like, not to serve us, but like to be there alongside us as part of the human kind of species. They're super tuned into us. Like, we literally created them to be our best friends. And they're born with that kind of innately, which is really interesting and manifests in a lot of different ways. And one of the biggest ways it comes across is communication.
Really?
I mean, you probably know this. You talk to Isma, the dog, the Wawa to which you're a stepmommy. When you talk to Isma, she listens, right?
She does.
She pays attention to you. She looks at you. Sometimes she doesn't know what you're saying, but she cares, right?
Yeah, she has her little tricks.
Yeah, she does some tricks.
She loves feet.
She does love feet. That dog loves feet.
It's actually kind of weird.
It's really funny. But I happened to be dog sitting Isma when Modok died. And I was so sad, and Isma could tell. And she comforted me. She acted differently to me. She was like right there with me, little therapy dog.
That's why I was like, Isma has so much personality. Because she's like, she'll be there for when you need to cry, but she'll also like take a very special interest in your feet.
In your feet. That's true. Yes. Yeah, but we can communicate with dogs. Like, you can look at, like, you could probably look at Isma and know if she's upset. Or...
Oh, for sure. She gets stressed out.
She gets stressed out sometimes, just like Isma could look at either of us and know if we were upset. We can communicate with dogs. So, Julian Kaminsky, who's a cognitive psychologist at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, says, we think that we are looking at a special adaptation in dogs to be sensitive to human forms of communication. There's multiple evidence suggesting that selection pressures during domestication have changed dogs such that they are perfectly adapted to their new niche, the human environment. And scientists think that dogs are like just born with this. They're just born knowing how to communicate with humans, because even 6-week-old puppies with no major training innately know to look to humans and interact with humans in a communicative way.
Really?
Yeah. So like this one study showed that unlike chimpanzees, which are widely considered to be far more intelligent than dogs and also our closest genetic relatives, dogs were able to understand humans like pointing at things from just a matter of like a few weeks of age.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like dogs really get when you point at stuff.
Yes.
Cats,
no, other
depend,
animals,
like,
not
I'd
so
say
much.
Cats, not so much.
Also, when I was younger, people thought dogs did not understand pointing. And I remember I read that, and it was like, scientists are like, dogs don't understand pointing. And I had all these dogs, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure my dog is understanding me pointing at this.
Yeah, because sometimes you're like, go get it, and you point at the thing.
And they're like, oh, yeah, I see that. I'm going to go get it. Right. But yeah, so now we know dogs do understand pointing, and that's not very common. And they understand it even from like puppyhood, like baby without training. They know to look at us and understand our pointing. And chimpanzees are like, what? Like, what are you doing? They don't understand that at all. Dogs will pay attention to our facial expressions from birth. Like, they will look for cues in human expressions to follow. So this 2016 study found that dogs can recognize human emotions on our faces. They can just look at us and know what we're feeling or thinking. And researchers figured this out because they positioned pictures of happy and sad human faces in front of each test dog. And then they played a happy or angry human voice in an unfamiliar language. They weren't picking up on the words, just the sound and the tone. And the dogs looked to the face that matched the tone of the voice.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're also better in general with cooperative communication skills, especially with humans. Like, it turns out that dogs are actually just really similar to human toddlers. Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
After living with a toddler.
Yes. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're super smart, but they are super tuned into us, and they are good at certain skills. Like a chimpanzee, though, for example, a chimpanzee trying to decipher pointing would be like it trying to learn a whole new language. But dogs will intuitively have that communication skill that ties into human communication methods, probably just because we instinctively bred it into them.
Wow.
Yeah, dogs and even puppies know pointing just like a human baby does at 7 months old. Wolves, though, don't.
Wow. So we really can call them our fur babies.
They really are, yes. And that thing you said about cats, only some house cats will understand pointing.
Yeah, I for sure believe that. Like, living with cats all my life, I feel like there was maybe only one cat that you could point at something and it'd look.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. It's usually an indoor house cat that's more likely to understand it, and one that's super bonded with a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, every dog is just like, that human's pointing at something, I better pay attention. It's probably essential to my survival in some way, because that's what we bred into them.
Yeah, I feel like it was my roommate's, like, kitten hairless cat that was, like, really smart like that.
Ah.
But, like, every other cat, I don't know.
Yeah. Dogs also will know if someone is speaking the same language as you. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, so like when people are like, my dog speaks multiple languages, they do. And not just because they know words in multiple languages, they understand the difference between people speaking different languages even to each other. They can like tell that it's different like speech patterns. They don't access like phonetic details when they're listening to human speech, but when scientists have done these like brain scans on dogs, they showed that their dogs would respond differently to just native language of their owner, even if they were using words they didn't know, even without training and even without that phonetic reasoning capacity, because they just like kind of could tell the sounds were different, which is pretty advanced, I think, thinking. Also, when they're hearing words, they're able to decipher nonsense if the nonsense words sound different enough. So, like, if you're trying to tell a dog to sit, but you say, like, Sid, or you say, like, get, the dog will still process it as the word sit. They'll know the word, they'll know what it means, and they'll know what they're supposed to do. So they're not processing language the same way adult humans do, because they won't recognize that those are different words, but they will process language, the same way a toddler would.
Yeah, so it's like if it's similar.
Yeah.
That's why I've heard that you shouldn't name, like if you have two dogs, you shouldn't name them similarly or rhyming.
Yeah, well, I made that mistake because we have Fork and we have Georgie, and I didn't realize I would instinctively call Fork Forky. So now they're both just Forky Georgie. Whatever. Also, when I got Modog, I named her Modog, and she never learned the word no because she's Mo. Oh. So her word when she was doing something that she wasn't supposed to do was stop.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why Mo, if you tell her no, she's just like, hi. Yeah.
I feel like if I got a dog, I'd want to name it Chainsaw.
A chainsaw's a great name. That'd be a great name for Fork, honestly.
You could always change it.
No, she's Forky. Dogs can actually learn, though, as long as they don't sound too similar, they can learn a handful of words really, really well. Like, the average dog can learn 165 words, and then there are these things called super dogs, which are in the top 20% of dog intelligence, and they can learn 250. And there was this one border collie who learned like 1,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's wild to think about this, because when I think about Modog, she was so smart, and we were so in tune with each other, and I communicated with her constantly, and I feel like she knew so many words, but when I think about it, I'm like, 165 words is so many. Like, she knew, like, sit, stay, wait, down, spin, up, bang, bang. That was the thing we said to make her play dead, right? Hungry, thirsty, stop, go, okay, ready, treat, roll over, practice. Those are the core ones that I thought about her knowing, but that's only 16 words.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she probably knew 150 more words that I didn't even realize because I was talking to her all the time. And she was like, I'm always like, Mo's anticipating every action. Like, Mo knows me. But she's probably picking up on other words and things, you know, that I didn't even realize I was teaching her. And some dogs are also really good at learning the names of objects without training. Yeah, like, there's some dogs where if you just point to something and say the word that it is 4 times, the dog will forever know what it is.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, like, Georgie, for example, we never taught Georgie the difference between, like, her toys, but we instinctively called them things. So there's one toy we call Saturn because it's shaped like Saturn. There's rope, and then there's ball. And I never tried to teach her, but I just remember one time I was like, go get Saturn. And she just went and got the right one and brought it. And she's like, she just knew. She was like, yeah, this is Saturn. Got it. You said that. I got it. So they actually are learning language quickly, and border collies in particular have like super advanced linguistic skills as like a dog breed.
Wow.
Yeah. And it has something to do, obviously, with dogs' social intelligence, but also, again, with the selective breeding that led to us taking the friendliest of the wolves, them ending up mating, and then eventually the dogs that came from all of that were super tuned into us. So we've been breeding dogs for centuries now based on their agreeability, their skills, and also their cuteness. But their cuteness genetically ties into how docile they are in a natural way.
Really?
Yeah, this is so interesting. So there's this experiment on breeding that was conducted on silver foxes. And foxes were selectively bred for, like, docility, like the docile ones were bred with each other. And this is obviously a trait that would naturally make them a good companion to humans, right? They're friendly, they're nice, they're calm. And what scientists found is that with each generation of the more and more docile silver foxes, the foxes' appearances changed too. They weren't choosing them for their appearances. Their appearances were just naturally changing. And the way they changed, their ears became floppier, their tails became curlier, and their snouts became shorter.
Interesting.
Yeah, so basically the more we bred them for tameness and domestication, the more dog-like their appearances got.
So they became more pug-like.
They became more pug-like. Yeah. And that might be because scientists think that tame animals could have fewer defective neural crest cells. And these are embryonic cells that play a key role in the development of things like your teeth, your jaws, your ears, and pigment-producing cells, as well as the nervous system, which would include things like fight or flight responses. So if they're right, then all of those cute domestic traits like spotted coats, curly tails, floppy ears are a side effect of domestication, but not because we were actively seeking them out, because we were actively seeking out another thing that came along with those same genetic markers, which is being docile. But now, basically, I'm just mad because I want a dog fox. How do I get a dog fox?
I've actually heard that. I have heard this, but I'm not sure if it's true that animals who have like puppies and kitties who have bigger eyes remind humans of baby humans.
Yes.
So they are treated better. So that kind of like evolution selects for those traits for domesticity.
This is totally true and something we will talk about. There are other ways too that dogs have developed as a result of the breeding process, right, to be more in tune with humans. Like, we're naturally taking these wolves originally and then taking the initial dogs and just continuously breeding them to be more and more compatible with us. And one of them is just like the mental state of dogs. And this one's really interesting because it's not necessarily positive. It's just a thing that happened. So there was this one medical study called Deciphering the Puzzles of Dog Domestication, and it says long-term accompaniment has not only promoted a much closer relationship between humans and dogs than with any other domesticated animal, but also similar genetics underlying as much as 360 diseases suffered by both, especially mental diseases like canine compulsive disorder, similar to human OCD, Alzheimer's disease, and epilepsy, which may partially result from the same natural environmental pressures and similar social exposures. Yeah, basically, we made the dogs crazy like us. And I always think that Georgie has ADHD. Like, I've always thought that because I have ADHD. And it turns out that some dogs do maybe, have something similar to ADHD. And 4% of adult Americans have ADHD, us included, right, Kenna? Yes. But 12 to 15% of dogs exhibit hyperactivity and impulsivity, and 20% exhibit inattention. And it is inheritable, but it's also influenced by environmental factors, just like in humans. So, working dogs were obviously bred to be highly active. So German Shepherds and Border Collies are just prone to hyperactivity. But also, weirdly, studies have found that if an owner previously owned a dog, their new dog is more likely to display ADHD behavior. But it could be like a chicken and egg thing. Like, maybe more experienced owners just feel more comfortable taking on active dogs because they've had enough experience with dog training already. Something like that. Fork, for example, is way more high energy and active and high maintenance than Modog ever was, despite them being the same breed. But because I had Modog and I understand more about how the dog breed works, I'm more comfortable handling her stuff. So maybe it's something like that. Another thing too, though, that we mentioned before is diet. The way dogs eat evolved to be more in line with human societies. So even before trying to consciously breed dogs into strong types, dogs were already adapting to just hang out with us. And one main way this happened was through dietary change. So we talked about this when the villages and agriculture became the norm roughly 5,000 years ago. But then as wolves became dogs and humans became increasingly settled, dogs' diets shifted to mirror the way humans were eating in villages. So unlike wolves, dogs can thrive on a diet rich in starch, and 10 genes involved in digestion kind of contribute to this, along with fatty acid metabolism, and those all evolved rapidly during the domestication process. So different dog breeds have varying abilities to process starch due to genetic variation, but variations in the genetic makeup of native dogs, modern dog breeds, and wolves globally show that a diet change involved a secondary shift consistent with the development and spread of prehistoric agriculture in most parts of the world, rather than just a single occurrence that happened during initial domestication. So what this means is we are continuing to breed dogs to be more conducive to fitting in with human society as we have them. And this is important, right? Because it literally meant that dogs evolved so they could eat with us.
Wow.
Yeah, dogs evolved so they could eat with us because they were surviving with us and hanging out with us. And that kind of leads to like the next thing, which is environmental adaptation. Like dogs also evolved to suit different environments as humans entered those environments. And this is really what it means when people are like, the history of humans and the history of dogs, it's one history. Like wherever we went, we took them with us and we faced the same things together. We evolved together as different species in these same environments. So for example, the Tibetan Mastiff is a local dog breed native to the Tibetan Plateau, and it evolved these special phenotypic traits that adapted to high altitude environments, which is also seen in Tibetan humans. So both dogs and humans in Tibet have certain genetic variations where they have a decrease in vascular resistance that promotes oxygen transport, which is necessary when you're in high altitudes because the oxygen is less abundant and accessible. And similarly, in Africa, some dogs adapted to malaria because malaria is super pervasive there. So dogs migrated into Africa about 14,000 years ago. And since then, dogs in Nigeria have been found with a genetic variation that protects them against malaria. And also, that specific variation is really similar to the human immune response to malaria. There's even cases of contemporary environmental adaptation, like the Moscow street dogs. Kenna, do you know about these?
No.
You don't know about the Moscow street dogs?
No.
Okay, these videos like went viral on YouTube maybe 10 years ago or something like that. Maybe 15 years ago even. But it's so wild. So, you know, in Moscow there's like 35,000 stray dogs that live there.
Whoa.
It's like Mexico. You know, it's just like stray dog culture. There's just stray dogs running around. And they have just kind of adapted to life in the city. So that includes them commuting on the subway system.
Cool.
But it's not like they just like end up on the subway. No, like some live in the suburbs and will commute into the city on the subway, taking the same stops to get on and off every single day.
Whoa.
The dogs like literally learned the subway system, and the people there are so used to it. They're just like, yeah, this is like what we do. And there's like monuments to the subway dogs that are built places.
Wow.
It's just like a part of the culture there that like the dogs are going to commute with you, and they know exactly where they're going, and they're doing a very specific thing. And Dr. Andrei Poyarkov, who's a biologist who studied Moscow stray dogs for 30 years, says, in Moscow, there are all sorts of stray dogs, but there are no stupid dogs because they all super adapted to living in Moscow. So Moscow stray dogs have also been observed obeying traffic lights on the street.
Wow.
They'll like wait for the green light and then they'll go on the green light. They also develop these strategies for foraging food, but like as a pack. And one of their strategies is they send out the cutest looking dog to beg for food because they know people are more likely to give a cute dog food. So they can look amongst them and be like, you, go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then they also have like these like smash and grab style cons. There's one called the bark and grab. So they'll find a person in the street who's holding food, and then a dog will suddenly jump in front of them or behind them, usually behind them, and bark, right, and scare them. And then the person gets surprised, and they drop the food, and another dog comes in and swoops it, and then they all reconvene as a pack and share the food.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, it's so cool. They're fully equipped to adapt, basically, though, to any environment that humans are in.
Wow.
If you put dogs there, they're like, cool, we're going to figure it out. We're going to live alongside you. This is what we do. Because we literally, like, bred them to do this. And the most important thing that dogs have adapted to do is just to love us.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, right? And I know, like, sometimes I get cynical. Like, when I was crying about Modog being gone, and then I was dog sitting Isma, the Wawa, to which you are the stepmom. Isma was licking my face while I was crying, and I was, like, cynical. I'm like, she's licking my tears because they're salty. Please don't eat my tears right now. Like, I can't deal with this.
No, she's doing it because she cares about you.
She actually was doing it because she cared about me, yeah, because then she started licking my hand and my arm where there was no salt. I had just taken a shower. It was very clean. And then she started licking other parts of my face. Like, she literally was just trying to comfort me. And then she curled up as a little donut on my lap and just sat there and, like, wouldn't leave. And I realized, like, oh my God, no, Isma's really sad that I'm sad. And I've known her for years, and she's like, I'm going to fix it.
She's a real sweetheart.
She is. She's like a therapy dog, for sure.
She also has a lot of anxiety.
She has a lot of anxiety, too. And I think she knows I have anxiety, too. She's like, we have anxiety together. So yeah, I think if you're thinking, do dogs really love us, or do they just love that we feed them? They do. They love us.
Yeah.
And we have science that proves they love us. Like the first piece of evidence is this oxytocin gaze positive loop. Do you know about this? Okay, so this 2015 study in Japan found that dogs and humans were engaging in a cross-species gaze-mediated bonding system using oxytocin. So when humans and dogs stare into each other's eyes, they each register a spike in oxytocin, which is called the love drug.
Aww.
Yeah. So meanwhile, wolves, they won't look us in the eye at all. And if they do, they're not releasing oxytocin. They're probably thinking about eating us.
I don't think wolves really eat people, do they?
I don't know. I think they'd consider it. If I was a wolf, I'd think about it.
I think it's kind of like bears. Like, they're like, ugh, you guys are gross.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see. Do wolves eat people? No, it does not identify humans as prey. Okay, well, that's good to know, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the thing where it's like they really only fuck with you if you fuck with them.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Wolves are very shy of humans, but are opportunistic hunters and will attack humans if the opportunity strikes.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, if you were, like, caught in the snow and, like, slowly dying, they'd be like, meh.
I'll eat you.
But you're gross.
Right, we're not tasty to them.
Well, I feel like humans are probably not tasty to most animals, and maybe I'm biased because,
you wouldn't eat a human?
Yeah, and I just think, most people are jerks, so they
probably
probably taste bad.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, are most people... I think working customer service will, like, working with the general public will be like, are just most people jerks?
Yeah, no, this is why working customer service, I think, is the hardest job. Not because the actual task is difficult. It is difficult, and it is stressful, but because it long-term alters the way you perceive all of humanity.
But the thing is like, I don't think anyone is evil.
No, but you see the worst in people, and sometimes you start to want, what if everybody is evil? What if my whole worldview has been wrong all along? Because that's just what you're getting inundated with, like, time and time again.
But I don't think that, I don't deep down think that people are evil. I think that just, like, fucked up shit happens to people through circumstance, luck, or a lot of other, this is a metaphysical thing, but it's like, yeah.
And then they take it out on customer service workers.
Yeah, but I don't know if most people are jerks, but in my mind, humans taste nasty.
Yeah, well, whatever the case, the wolves they're not too interested in building a bond with us. Not
or eating us.
Or eating us,
You know
I guess.
what? That makes me, how, like, if you truly how, like, they say that love and hate are two sides of the same coin because you're, like, obsessed with someone.
Yes.
I think that if you really actually hate something, you literally just don't even care.
Oh, yeah, like, ignoring something is the thing that hurts the most.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, wolves are kind of just, like, you're just, like, they're, like, the person that you think is really cool, and they will just never even see you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, what's up, blah, 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 and they're like, what's your name?
Yeah,
and
you're like, I have you on a t-shirt.
Or
I love you, wolf.
Or like, we've known each other since we were 5. And they're like, oh, cool. Sorry, can I get your name again? And you're just like, in your chest. That's us and wolves.
That's us and wolves, but that's not us and dogs.
No. Dogs are like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, they love us. They love us so deeply. And also, that oxytocin is released not just when we look at each other, but when we touch each other, too.
Aww.
So when you pet a dog, the dog gets happy, too.
Aww.
We both like it. And also, another piece of evidence has to do with dogs' reactions when they smell us. Yeah, like a 2014 study, they trained a handful of dogs to sit still in an MRI machine to monitor a part of their brain called, like, the caudate nucleus, which helps coordinate our neural reward system. And when the dogs sniffed their owner's scent, the caudate nucleus lit up. And when the dogs sniffed just like other random people or other dogs, it didn't light up the same way.
Aww.
They liked the way their people smelled. And there's this other thing that tells us dogs probably do at least view us as like their safe person or their family. They did this one experiment where dogs and owners were both placed in an unfamiliar room, but it had interesting things to explore. And the scientists just like took notes on what happened. So the dogs and their owners exhibited behaviors that were virtually identical to what developmental psychologists had observed in well-adjusted human infants and their mothers.
Whoa.
So the dogs would use their owners as a secure base, and then they would venture out and come back as they explored the new surroundings, all while staying connected through eye contact and watching carefully for cues with their owner.
Aww.
They're like, is this okay? I'm doing this. Am I safe to do this? I'm looking at you. I'm coming back. And also, we know that dogs don't love everyone.
They don't.
No. So research has found that dogs are capable of making rapid, simultaneous judgments of the kindness and potential helpfulness of humans they meet. So Newsweek talked about this, and they talked about Zachary Silver, who recently earned a PhD at Yale and opened a lab at Occidental College, who used pairs of actors to test the ability of dogs to make character judgments. So one actor would pretend to steal a clipboard or actively harm another person, and the other actor would pretend to be like super friendly, like handing someone a clipboard that they were looking for and being helpful. And then both actors would simultaneously offer a dog a treat. And of the 37 dogs they tested, 2/3 took food from the friendly actor.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, I don't trust this other guy. He looks like an asshole. You seem nice. So basically, dogs can tell when we're nice to them, and they respond better to that, meaning they actually can just like us more than they like other people based on what they've observed about our behavior. And they also will try to help us back. If they like us, they try to help us. So like they did this one experiment where owners left the room and researchers in front of their dog would hide food somewhere. And then when the owners came back in, they would start looking for the food, and the dogs would signal to their owners where the food was. They'd either use their eyes, like, look over there, look over there, look over there, or they would full on lassie the situation and like run up to their owner and be like, follow me. I know where it is, follow me. And then they'd run back to the owner and get them and back to the place and just be like back and forth, like, come on, it's over here. And they would like guide them to the food.
Wow.
Yeah. And Modog did that once. Not for me, but for a little dog.
Really?
Modog was off leash at Earth Cafe, and she lassied me. And I was like, are you lassying me right now? And she was like, come on with me. Hey, come over here. It's around the corner. Just come with me. And I was like, okay. And I was like talking to somebody who's like, I think I have to follow my dog right now. And I got up and I followed around the corner, and this lady had this little tiny dog, like maybe like a Yorkie, that had been sitting on her lap, and it had its leash on and its collar on, and she was talking on the phone, and she didn't realize like the dog fell off her lap, I guess. This is like what I put together. The dog though was wrapped around her chair on its leash and strangling, choking, because it was too high above the ground. It couldn't reach the ground, and it was choking on its collar and leash. And Modog came and got me and was like, look at this dog, this is a problem. And I was like, oh shit, you're right, Modog. And then I like got the dog down, I unwrapped its leash, and then the woman of course saw me because I looked like me. She thought I was stealing her dog. She was like, that's my dog. And I'm like, lady, your dog was fucking dying. My dog just saved your dog's life. And then she like looked at Mo, and Mo was all stressed out. Mo was like, what the fuck's happening, you know? But Mo used to do this stuff all the time. Also, one time at a party, Mo saw a group of boys, it was like somebody I was dating, their family's party or something. So there was children. So there was a group of little boys, and they picked up a little girl, and they were going to throw her in the pool. And Modog got so mad, she attacked them to save her.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was like, you put her down. Like, no, bad behavior. And that's why we was called Mo the Cop, because Mo was like, there are some bad people in the world, and I need to stop them.
Apparently, when I was a kid, this happened maybe once or twice, where our golden retriever, Ginger, there was a mild earthquake, and she like ran down the stairs and like tried to tug me out of bed to like get me back up the stairs. And one time I think the smoke alarm went off. Like I don't think it was, I think it just like went off. Like, I don't know. It wasn't a real fire, but she did the same thing where she like woke me up and was trying to like shuffle me out of bed.
Yeah, she's like, get up, something's happening.
Yeah,
they do this. They're so smart. And this actually is a perfect segue, because we know also dogs look out for our safety. So this one researcher reported in their personal life that they once took a bad fall on this icy staircase by their house, and their dog saw it happen. So the dog like runs to their side, licks them a whole bunch, stays with them until they're able to get up. But then for years afterwards, whenever it was snowy or icy or cold outside, when they came to that staircase, the dog would like stay by its side and watch closely until the danger had passed.
Aww.
But it wouldn't act like that when it wasn't snowing or icy.
That's cute.
Yeah. So Newsweek also reported Philippa Johnson, an associate professor of diagnostic imaging at Cornell College of Veterinary Medicine, recently produced the first atlas of the canine brain, and she found that the temporal areas of the brain that involve long-term episodic memory and emotions are roughly comparable in dogs to those of humans, which is major because forever we thought dogs didn't have episodic memory. Yeah, we thought dogs remembered in vibes. So the fact that she's like, no, they actually have episodic memory. They can like recall events. That's pretty major. And Newsweek said, this is how dogs are able to bond so well with humans and understand our emotions. And they also can like keep track of time using their relationship with you. Like they'll keep track of, for example, how long you've been out of the house by how much the house still smells like you. Yeah, so if you've been gone a while, they're like, uh-oh, you've been gone a while. This isn't normal. The house doesn't smell like you anymore. But if your dog's like used to you being gone for work all day, for example, they'll be like, this is a normal amount for the house to smell like you. You'll probably be coming home soon. And researchers have also found that unequivocally, kind words from an owner will light up the dog's reward system either as much as dog treats or more.
Aww.
Yeah, so sometimes they like us more than they like food, and the part that lights up is the same part that lights up in humans when we like something or someone.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, it's so nice. And just to finish up this little section about how much dogs have really adapted to fit into the human world, I have some heartwarming stories about dogs saving human lives.
Aww.
Do you want to hear?
Sure.
I have 4. So we have one about a dog named Kelsey. In the winter of 2017, a man slipped in the snow in the cold Michigan wilderness and he broke his neck.
Oh,
but
shit.
he lived. He was paralyzed, though, and he was like, well, I'm going to freeze to death because I can't move and it's like freezing out here. And his golden retriever, Kelsey, laid on top of him to keep him warm for 19 hours and did not stop barking until help arrived. And this was even after he lost consciousness.
Whoa.
Like, she just stayed with him and she was like, no, I'm keeping you warm and I'm alerting everybody. And then somebody came and they saved his life.
Wow.
Yeah. The second one is about a dog named Buddy. So an 87-year-old man in Florida fell and he couldn't get up, and his 12-year-old dog Buddy broke through a screen door, ran to a neighbor's house, and alerted them to the danger, Lassie style, led them back to his owner, and they saved him.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, there's a dog named Todd. It's a great name for a dog.
In addition to Chainsaw, I really like the name Kevin for a dog.
Kevin's good. Todd's a strong Kevin energy dog name. This dog in Arizona in 2018 saved its owner's life by jumping in between her and a rattlesnake.
Wow.
And it got bit on the face, but not a full bite, and it lived.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then in 2017, we have a dog named Sacco, who was a King Shepherd from British Columbia, who survived a car accident. It killed everybody except for this dog, Sacco, and his teenage owner. And the dog took care of the teenage owner, who was badly wounded, for 40 hours straight until rescuers found them. This dog kept his person warm. He found water for it to drink.
Oh my God.
And he even fought off coyotes to protect his owner.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. There are so many stories like this. Yeah, and even the other day, I had this, like, neurodivergent meltdown of some kind, and I had a migraine, and I think Fork could tell I was just, like, not okay, and I've only had Fork for a month. Like, I would not expect us to be this in tune, but she could totally tell just something was off with me, and I lay down in bed, you know, she lays down in bed with me, she usually curls up and just, like, goes to sleep next to me, but this time she could tell I was not okay, and instead of sleeping next to me, she stood guard at the foot of the bed, and she barked at anybody who came into the room to, like, defend me, just being like, get away, even my boyfriend and our other dog. She was like, you get away from here, like, no, and she did that until I felt better. She protected me.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I have heard of, I knew someone when I was younger who was like, they were like stranded out on this camping trip and they, in true teenage fashion, forgot to bring water.
Yeah.
And they were like dying of water. They're like, oh, we need water. And they were camping with this little tiny chihuahua. And the Wawa went missing for like an hour. And they're like, fuck, where's the Wawa? Came back. It had somehow stolen like a huge bottle of water and brought it back.
Whoa! That's wild!
I think that some people think that like little dogs are like different. You know, like the Wawas get a bad name.
They do. The Wawas are strong and powerful and majestic.
Yeah, we love a Wawa.
We love it. So this is actually a good chance for us to talk about dog breeds, since we're on the Wawa. So, you know, obviously how dogs developed kind of naturally alongside humans, and there were kind of distinct dog breeds just based on the geographical region that they developed, right? But dog breeding, as we think of it today, didn't really get started until like the middle of the 1800s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought it'd been going on a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, there were just dogs that kind of had the same vibe, just because of the geographical locations or, you know, like family styles of dogs. But the way we think of dog breeding today, that's really like a Victorian thing, and it has to do with industrialization, and there's a reason.
Whoa.
Yeah. So before the mid-19th century, dogs would have been named just for like the task they performed. So if the dog retrieved something, it was a retriever. If the dog rounded up sheep, it was a sheepdog. If it guarded you, it was a guard dog. And that's kind of how dogs were characterized, by their kind of job. So Professor Warbies, who was the author of The Invention of the Modern Dog, said the types of dogs that existed were bred to do particular tasks, like to collect game that had been shot or to protect sheep from wolves. So we did have different types of dogs, but it was more just kind of, based on their task, based on the region they were in, just like where you were would necessitate what type of dog you were looking for, that kind of a thing. And there were dog types, definitely, but this is just kind of how they were thought of. But after the Industrial Revolution, the way humans related to dogs shifted, and dogs started to get further adapted to fit our lifestyles. So basically, as humans, and therefore their dogs, began to move into different parts of society and take on different roles, they were bred to fit new specific purposes. So around the 1500s-ish is when dog breeding kind of got its start, even though it wasn't the type of dog breeding we're thinking today. But dogs were bred primarily to fulfill two different functions. So one, certain dogs were bred to perform specific tasks to assist their human companions based on their distinct behaviors and functions. And two, other dogs were bred as ornamental pets to be integrated into human families. So today, there are roughly 400 different dog breeds that fulfill specialized functions in human society. And they each have clear morphological and behavioral differences between them. So they're all like super distinct. So dogs will obviously range in size, right? You have like a 1-pound teacup poodle to like a 200-pound giant mastiff. Like Pig, my best friend's dog. Literally, this dog is like twice my size.
I don't think I've ever seen a bigger dog.
I don't think I've ever seen a bigger dog than Pig either.
Like, it is probably at least 4 feet tall.
He's huge. He's massive.
Yeah.
He's like a horse. He's like a small horse.
Yeah. Doesn't he weigh like 200 pounds?
He weighs over 200 pounds.
Whoa.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, all these dogs also will have, like, different body proportions, different abilities completely. And dog breeds are now kind of classified into 7 groups according to their different guarding, herding, obedience, and hunting skills by some people. And those groups would be gun dogs. Have you ever heard of gun dog?
No.
Me neither, but it's just a hunting dog that retrieves shot game, like a retriever.
Oh.
So that made sense. And then, like, a working dog.
Like a sheepdog.
Yeah,
Cattle
but
dog?
no, because that would be a herd dog, a herding dog. A working dog would be a dog that, like, I don't know, like a seeing eye dog or something, maybe? I don't know.
What, like a cop dog?
Yeah, maybe like the ones, the St. Bernards that carry the things on their neck. Maybe that's a working dog.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. They all kind of blended together to me. So there's the gun dogs, the working dogs, the herding dogs, right? That one's pretty obvious. The hound dogs. That's my beloved Modog and now Fork. They're hound dogs.
What are they supposed to do?
They, can, find, animals, have find
prey.
like
bloodhounds.
Like bloodhounds. Like, they each kind of, they can smell really well. They can track things. They can trace things. Then there's terriers, which are agents of chaos.
What? They dig holes and eat rats?
They dig holes and eat rats, exactly. They eat rats.
I thought they were supposed to be on ships, too.
Yeah, terriers went on ships to eat the rats on the ships.
Nice.
That's what they were there for. And then also there's companion dogs, which are dogs that are just bred to be your little buddy.
Little cuties,
like a Wawa.
I don't know the history of the Wawa.
Oh, I'll explain the history of the Wawa. Don't worry, I got a whole Wawa section coming up.
For the Wawa army.
For the Wawa army, yeah. These types of dogs all have distinct behavior though between them, and even different appearances because of how intensive the artificial selection was in breeding to get them to those behavior points. To the certain point that certain dog breeds do, yes, have specific traits that are now further inheritable, right? So by the 1800s, we get into the Victorian era. Then something else happens that really makes dog breeding take off. And it ends up setting the standards for different types of dog breeds that would emerge. And it's interesting how this happens. So Michael Warboys, who's the emeritus professor at the University of Manchester, says the changes wrought on dogs in the Victoria era were revolutionary, as was the very adoption of breed as a way of thinking about and remaking varieties of dog. For most of history, what dogs did counted more than how they looked. And that was until Victoria started to develop competitive dog shows and produced the kind of dogs that we know today.
Like the puppy bowl. Wait, no, not the puppy bowl. The dog show that goes on around the Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly. So like the movie Best in Show.
I love
phenomenal
that
movie. Yeah.
Model trains. That's how they got the idea for the big ones.
Yes. So this is why we're dogs did have kind of breeds as you think of them before the Victorian era, but it didn't really take off as we think of dog breeds until then. And I'm going to explain why. It's got a sad kind of origin. So this might be, you skip ahead 15 seconds if you don't want to hear the sad origin. So around the 1830s, dog fighting got outlawed in Britain. And people who had bred fighting dogs suddenly had an oversupply of puppies. And people were eager to gamble on dogs somehow. So they just started having dog beauty contests.
Better than fighting.
Better than fighting. And it wasn't as soft and feminine as it sounds, though. It was popular with those same working class men in bars that used to like dog fighting. Basically, since they couldn't bet on dogs to kill each other anymore, they started betting just on which dogs looked like they could kill each other. Like, which dogs looked like they could win a fight. No, it's fucking wild. They'd just be like, that one looks really healthy and aggressive. I like that one better. And this is literally how dog shows started. With these bros so, like, juiced up on wanting blood and violence that they were like, well, we can't vote on what would actually happen. Let's vote on what we think would happen.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it was just like working class bros. But eventually, the kind of target market for these dog shows and the nature of the dog shows changed pretty rapidly, actually. But one of the British guys who was originally interested in these dog pageants was a doctor turned sports journalist named John Henry Walsh. And he had a pretty impressive sports world pedigree. No pun intended with the pedigree. But he organized like the first Wimbledon lawn tennis championship in 1877. And then he also like produced a series of books laying out the formal rules for all these Victorian sports. And eventually it was him that came up with all of the kind of rules about dog breeds that would be used in these dog shows.
Oh, so the same guy who came up with the game of tennis rules.
Yes, is the guy who was like, and this is how the dogs are supposed to look.
Wow, that's interesting. I like how it's like you think it's like some like, you know, really complicated thing. It's like, no, a guy just liked making rules for a bunch of stuff.
And it was kind of viewed as a sport. He's like, I like sports. We can compete with these dogs. And now when we think about dog breeds, a lot of the things we're thinking about are really those same standards derived from his original definitions of different types of dogs.
Wow.
Yep. So that Professor Warbies, who talks about all this stuff, says the categorization system was very typical of the Victorian era because this was a period of industrialization, of standardization, and of product differentiation. So it was in the culture for that to be how people started to think about these dogs. We're going to categorize them, their products, we're going to differentiate them, we're going to do this in a really systematized way. And he says there were any number of types of dogs around for millennia, but they were only standardized into the breed system we think of today 150 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, so once these categories got established, people then started trying to create the best version of every category. And new categories of dogs also started to emerge. People were like, I think I could make a new dog.
I'm like imagining Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a dog.
Yeah, no, totally. It's basically what they did. And all of this was fueled by something that came out in 1859 having to do with breeding. Can you guess what it is? It's a media work?
Darwin?
Yeah, it was Darwin.
Wow.
It was Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species.
Wow.
And so breeders were invigorated by this. And they took this, like, on to try to create new breeds of the most perfect versions of other breeds that already existed, you name it, in a way that seemed to suggest all living things could be improved through selective breeding. And it was actually part of this really growing eugenics movement.
Ooh.
Yeah, as people learned about genes, they were like, we could do the best of this, but we just, like, did dog eugenics, basically.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
How come? Oh, God.
I know, everything's eugenics, I know. And in the very first edition of Walsh's book on the dog, there were 27 types of dogs when he first did this. He's like, here's 27 types of dogs you can have. But by the time we got to 1900, there were 80 types of dogs. And today, we have over 400.
Whoa.
So
for some reason, I thought there were even more.
Yeah, no, but, well, those are like the AKC recognized,
Gotcha.
you know, the American Kennel Club recognized, whatever. And kind of, can you guess what the most popular dog breed of 2022 was?
French Bulldog?
It is the French Bulldog.
Okay, because I see them everywhere. I literally just saw a French Bulldog puppy walking here.
Really?
It was really, really tiny.
I would never have guessed that it was the French Bulldog. I don't think I see them anywhere.
Oh, I see them
everywhere.
I think because I walk around maybe a little bit more.
I walk a lot. I walk like everywhere. I hardly ever drive my car.
But I don't know. I mean, in my old neighborhood around Hollywood, like that was the number one dog I saw.
Wow.
I feel like number one dog is Frenchie. 2, probably like a Labradoodle. I think Corgi's a little bit popular, and Last year I noticed more dachshunds.
Okay, well, I've got the top 10 most popular dog breeds according to the American Kennel Club in the United States. You know, right. French Bulldogs are number 1, like we said. Now, Labradoodles are not an AKC recognized dog breed.
Interesting.
It's a mutt. It's a mix of a Labrador and a Poodle.
Mm.
But number 2 is just a Labrador Retriever.
Interesting.
So that's close for you. That's really close. Number 3 is a Golden Retriever. But I just feel like we live in a city. We live in LA. It's not really a Golden Retriever kind of place.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely when I lived in a rural area, you'd probably see more retriever. You see more bigger dogs, more labs, more stuff like that. Because you kind of need a yard.
That's what I was thinking.
For golden retrievers.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of golden retrievers, but I know they're like the quintessential American dog, so it's not surprising to me that they exist in more rural or suburban places. In my experience,
good dogs.
Interesting. Yeah, the ones saved you. Tried to save you twice. Number 4 is a German Shepherd. I feel like I see those. That makes sense to me.
I mean, plus, like, you see them a lot, like, guard dogs, police dogs.
Working dogs.
Like, sniffer dogs.
Yeah. And then number 5 is poodles.
I see a lot of poodles.
I love a poodle. Number 6 is a bulldog.
Oh.
And number 7 is a Rottweiler.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8 is a beagle. Number 9 is the dachshund, our little buddies. Number 10 is a German short-haired pointer. I don't even think I've heard of that dog.
Huh?
Yeah. And number 11 was the corgi, but he didn't make the top 10 list. But you mentioned it, so I just throw them in there. And I thought it would be fun to break down some of the history and traits of popular dog breeds we know and love today. But I'm not going to do a lot. I'm just going to do, like, dogs we know. You know? Like, if there are people, it's like dogs we know. I think it's mostly just dogs we know that I'm throwing in here.
Cool.
All right. So I'm starting with the dachshund, obviously, because that's the breed I'm most familiar with.
That's the one I'm petting right now.
Yeah, you're petting right now after she peed in the podcast room twice because I wasn't paying enough attention to her and just potty training. Yeah. So Kenna, do you remember what dachshunds were bred for?
They're bred for sniffing and hunting.
Yeah, they were bred to hunt badgers.
Nice.
Yeah. They were bred to hunt badgers in Germany, and they are a lot more aggressive than people think they are.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. Like, don't get me wrong, they're loving and sweet. Like, Fork is curled up on you right now, receiving neck scritches and looks very happy. But they tend to bond to only one person, and people are really surprised to learn that they're fighters. Like, they're hunting dogs.
Yeah, dude.
And if you give them a toy, they'll instantly destroy it like they would kill a small creature. And I always joked that Modog was in the SLA, but I called it the Squeaker Liberation Army. And she was just liberating the squeakers from all the toys, because the first thing she would do when you gave her a toy is she would rip it open and take the squeaker out and destroy it.
Yeah.
And it's cute, but the reality of why they do this is really dark. They like the squeaking noises because it mirrors the sound of small prey dying, and they're trying to rip a small creature apart. It's like very violent why they rip apart these toys. Yeah. So dachshunds are little killers. And their long bodies were bred that way because they're ideal for digging and entering tunnels where badgers lived. And their floppy ears keep the dirt and debris out. It's like a little door over their ear hole, keeping them out. And their long tails could be a handle for their people to pull them out of tunnels and holes if they got stuck.
Well, I've noticed just in anecdotally that a lot of dachshunds I've known try to bury under stuff.
They love to burrow. Yeah, they like to be under things. Like this morning I was working on the podcast and I was sitting on the couch and my computer was on my lap and my legs were straight, and Fork went in between my legs and just put her head under the computer. Like her head was buried in between my legs and under the computer, and her body was exposed. I'm like, this is not effective, but that is very cute. No, they love to burrow though. That's totally true. Also, they have these deep chests, right? These big chests, and they have huge lung capacities, and that's so they can hold their breath underground. And their long noses meant they were good at sniffing out the prey. And they're like the only dog that AKC recognizes that can hunt above ground and below ground.
Interesting.
They're subterranean, yeah. And Modog was never into digging, but Fork's favorite thing to do is go outside and just dig holes in my yard.
Really?
Yeah, Fork said she loves to dig. She's into digging. She'll go out there and she'll just dig holes for hours.
Wow.
And you come out and you have this hole, and you'll be like, do I fill it? Do I let you add it? Like, what do I do? I feel bad. The holes get all deep and she's really loving it. And I'm like, you put so much work into this. It also looks like shit. You know? You fucked up the yard, but it's so cute.
We don't want you getting stuck and having to pull you out by the tail.
No, I'm like, how do you pull it out? I would never do that. It seems like it would hurt. But, you know?
That's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for. So yeah, dachshunds were first brought to the United States in 1885, but they didn't get really popular until the mid-1930s, which was bad timing because then World War II happened not too long after that, and you had all these dachshunds running around, and everyone was like, we hate the Germans. So then everybody in the United States was like, no, they're not German dogs, they're not Das Hound, they're not Dash Hound, we'll just call them Badger dogs. So then everyone during World War II named them Badger dogs.
It's like freedom fries.
They became the freedom fries of World War II. Yes, it makes a little more sense, though, I guess. But yeah, even Picasso had a dachshund named Lump. So dachshunds are described as being smart but stubborn. They are notoriously difficult to potty train. They are usually ranked the hardest dog breed to potty train.
Would believe that.
And I had in my notes that I was really proud of Fork because she was doing so well. She was like almost fully potty trained after a month, and usually it takes most people 6 months to train a potty train a dog. I think I'm really good at potty training dogs. It usually takes me 2 months, and I was all proud of Fork because I'm like, it's been 1 month and you're basically 100% potty trained. But then she just peed in this room twice out of nowhere, so I don't know what's going on. We're regressing.
Yeah, I think it's because she wanted attention.
I think she wanted attention too. I think she was mad I wasn't paying attention to her.
Yeah.
And the thing about the dachshunds is they're smart, but they are really independent, and they don't like being told what to do, and they are super, like, mischievous. Like, you can fight with a dachshund. Yeah. Like, the dachshund will do things to piss you off if it's mad at you. And it'll be like, does this hurt you? I'm hurting you on purpose because I'm mad. And this is, like, a thing I always said, like, when I had MoDog. I always knew that someone I was dating, like, really understood MoDog if I left them alone together and I would get this text or phone call, which is, I think I'm fighting with your dog. And I'd be like, you are. If you think you're fighting with her, you are, and she's already won. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, they're also really vocal as a dog breed. Like, they tend to bark a lot. Their barks sound bigger than they are. MoDog never barks, so I was super spoiled with that. But, we talked about it. Fork is very vocal.
Oh my goodness.
Fork is very vocal.
Sounds like a big dog.
A big dog or a dying turkey.
Yeah, or the...
Yeah. I mean, she is so vocal, like... I was by the beach a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and the weather was really, really cool. It was like 60 degrees outside. I parked under the shade. I left my windows cracked. It was like totally fine. I ran into a store literally for 5 minutes to get one thing. I was like on my way to someone's house and they were cooking, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this one thing. I go into the store, I grab the thing, I'm checking out, and this woman comes inside and is like, there's a dachshund in a car in the parking lot, and it's in the shade, and the temperature's really cool, but it just seems so upset. And I was like, that's Fork. And then I had to be like, hi, I just got a puppy. I'm trying to train her. She has separation anxiety. I thought 5 minutes in the store would be a good, like, work on being alone for a second here, dog. But no, apparently she's just humiliating me in a parking lot, and everyone thinks she's being abused. And then... I was happy that the woman was concerned about her, but she was like, I thought it was weird. I know the weather's cool, and I could see it was parked in the shade, and everything seemed fine. And I was like, yeah, no, she's just dramatic. She's just dramatic. But I don't want to leave her outside tied to something, because then I'm like, someone's going to steal her.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's hard. So she is very, very, very vocal. And they are, like I said, one-person dogs, famously. Like, Fork's separation anxiety is so bad. She's super, super, super bonded to me, and she's not interested in anyone else, and she gets really, really upset when we're not just, like, side by side, or I'm not paying a lot of attention to her. And it took a long time for me to train my last dachshund out of that behavior, and it also took MoDog maybe 5 or 6 years to warm up to my boyfriend, and we all lived together for 8 years. Like, it was like Birdie. It's like years together, and she's just like, no, not you. You're not my person. And, they will come around, but... they get really, really bonded. They're very emotionally intense and delicate dogs, and they take a lot of work. And I think that's why a lot of people give them up, because they don't realize how intense the dog is going to be. Also, this fun fact, which I've told you before, Kenna, that I love to tell people, is that standard dachshunds are massive. And most of the dachshunds we think of today as being dachshunds are minis. The standard dachshund is like 35 pounds. It's the size of like my albeit small, but my pit bull.
It's freaky.
It's freaky big. They're freaky big. Yeah. And those big ones were used to hunt boar and deer.
Yeah, it's like, it seems like unbelievable when you like actually see when you're like, no.
Yeah.
It's too big.
It looks photoshopped if you see a picture. You're like, this can't be real.
And I feel bad because I'm like, all dogs are beautiful. Like, they're all so cute. But when you just see a dog that you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's just not what you think of. And my first experience with them, it was my best friend in high school, was like, yeah, my parents have dachshunds. And I was like, oh my God, my mom has dachshunds, totally. And then I went to his house and I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Why are they so big? And they hated me, obviously. They were just like, get the fuck out of our house. And I'm like, am I in danger right now? Like, these dogs are massive. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I keep seeing this dog in the neighborhood that is the biggest pug I've ever seen.
Really?
Like, it's like the size of Georgie.
Whoa.
Like, it's like, I'm like, how, and like, all I can think of is like, is this, because I'm like, it looks like a pure pug, but I'm like, how'd the pug get so big? And like, in my mind, I'm just like, it has special dog food. It's so big. Or
it's bulked up.
Or I'm like, is there a special breed of pug that's just huge?
Like a giant pug?
Like, giant.
That's so interesting. I need to see it. Now, you're noticing a lot more dogs than I am around the neighborhood is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta figure this out. Well, dachshunds come in 3 different sizes today. There's a mini, there's a tweenie, and there's the standard, the massive one. The mini is the most common. That's around 12 pounds. That's Fork. She's 11 pounds. Modog, 13 pounds. Listen to this shit, though. For a brief time, in the early 20th century, there were 5-pound dachshunds, and they were used to hunt rabbits.
What?
Yeah. And this is blowing my mind because I didn't know this, and now all I want to do is see the teacup 5-pound dachshund. Like, what the fuck? I need that.
I actually follow this really, really tiny weenie.
Really?
On Wiener Dog.
Do you think it's 5 pounds?
It's really small.
Oh my
on
God.
Instagram. Or not Instagram, TikTok.
Do you know its name?
I think its name is Hazel.
Hazel! Oh, I've seen Hazel! I didn't realize how small it was.
It's really tiny.
Oh, okay. I need to look into this.
Because, like, I was, like, looking at something and I was like, wait, this dog is teeny.
Interesting. I love how also, speaking of tiny dogs, Fork is now curled up like a precious angel, sleeping in between us after having peed twice in front of me in the span of an hour.
After being a little naughty.
She's all sleepy now.
She looks like a little croissant.
Yeah. Okay, so that's dachshunds, right? They're a whole thing. They got a personality. Like, when I signed up for, like, the LA Dachshund Rescue website, the questions were so funny. I think you remember when I did this because I was just like, these questions. One of them's like, if your dog were to not love you, would that be okay? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And the dog like questionnaire is then like, do you have children? And I'm like, no. And then it's like, do you plan on having children? Because they don't like children. And I'm like, no, I'm not having kids. I know, I get it. You know, and it's just like going through all these things. And I'm like, finally at the end, I'm just like, I know the dog. I know the dog. Just give me the weird, aggressive, violent dog that hates children and won't love me. Like, I want that. That's what I need for some reason. That is the dog I need. And hopefully it will pee all over my entire house. And that's just how it goes. But yeah. So the next one I looked into just a little bit, not as much as poodles. Okay, because I love a poodle. I feel like it's cool to hate a poodle.
Yeah, I like poodles.
I think the poodle is maligned, unfairly maligned. My ex had a cockapoo, which was a Cocker Spaniel Poodle mix named Luna. She was awesome. Poodles were originally also used as hunting dogs in Germany, but then they were standardized in France. And they were good hunting dogs because their hair was super curly and resistant to water. And they do have hair, not fur.
Wow.
Yes. So poodles are also thought to be amongst the smartest dog breeds in the world.
Whoa.
They are super, super smart, and that's why they're sometimes used as guide dogs or therapy dogs. And they're also really active, and they can live up to 18 years as like a standard lifespan, which is a pretty long time for dogs and really cool.
I feel like I read somewhere like that the average life of like a Frenchie now is only 7 years.
4.5 years.
What?
And we'll get into it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay, so the next one, this section's a little longer because it's a political one. It's the most political dogs.
Poodles?
The pit bulls.
Oh, the pit bull.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the most political and controversial one. A lot of people say hating pit bulls is rooted in racism. I totally see how that can be true because they're popular in like non-white communities, just like the Chihuahua. Right? But obviously it's hard to paint a Chihuahua as aggressive, but people still do it. People still say the Chihuahuas are aggressive.
I mean, some Chihuahuas for sure.
Yeah, some of any dog though, for sure.
Yeah, I think any dog, regardless of breed, could be aggressive.
Right. Or very, very sweet. But yeah, so as somebody, obviously I grew up with a pit bull in my home for the first 8 years of my life when I was a teeny tiny little baby. And I have one now. I think it's not going to be surprising where I fall on this. Like, I love pit bulls. I think they're great dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm team pit bull. So we're going to get into the pit bull thing, but the first thing you have to know is that pit bull is not an official breed, right? We talked about this with Georgie. Pit bull is an umbrella term commonly reported to contain the following 3 registered breeds of dogs, which are the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier, and the American Pit Bull Terrier, but also the American Bully. So 4 types of dogs in total, but only 3 are kind of recognized dog breeds. And any of those or a combination of those is called a pit bull dog.
Interesting.
A pit bull terrier, yeah. And these dogs were originally bred from Old English bulldogs. And they're similar in appearance to today's American Bulldog, if you think about them. And they gained their popularity on the British Isles. This is going to be we're going to talk about some gnarly stuff. But they gained their popularity in some fucked up blood sport called bull baiting, where bulldogs would basically just harass a bull for hours until it collapsed. Really, really sad. They used to do this with bears, too.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And in 1835, these things finally became outlawed. But then the public just started inventing new fucked up games to play with dogs. And one was called ratting. And, trigger warning, we're going to talk about some violence for animals for the next probably 15 to 30 seconds. And this would just be where they would see how many rats a dog could kill in a specific time period. And they would compare their numbers to each other. Yeah. So the pit and pit bull came from this idea. The rats were placed in a pit so they couldn't escape. It's really fucked up. I had pet rats in high school. They're so smart. They're such good animals.
I'm afraid of mice and rats. But...
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I think they're very sweet. They're very good pets. I love them.
They're too small. They scurry. I don't want to talk about it.
That's fine. We don't have to. But from there, just straight up dog fighting also got more popular, which is so fucked up. And both of those sports required that dogs be more agile and quick than like the bull stuff had been, or the bear stuff had been. So then the bulldogs were crossed with terriers, and behold, we end up with pit bull terriers, which crossed the sea after the Civil War with their people, and then it became the American pit bull terrier, where they would then once they were here, they started helping herd cattle and sheep, and then they would guard and protect livestock, and they would also protect families against wild animals. They were just like family farm dogs from that point on. And they were noted for being actually especially good with children, which is where that nanny dog thing came from, but that was a myth. But it came from the fact that they were actually really, really good with kids and really good to have around your family. And they were even the United States mascot during World War I and World War II because they were so brave and loyal. So they had this bad history where people made them do a bunch of fucked up shit. But by the time they came to the United States and became the American Pit Bull Terrier, they were out of that life and they were just like good dogs,
I feel like they're good, family dogs.
They're good family dogs. And this is a fucked up history for sure, but it's not any more fucked up than any other hunting dog's history. Like, dachshunds were bred to hunt boar, and that's a huge violent thing. They were bred to hunt those standard ones. Boar
I'm imagining the mini ones. I'm doing the meme where like she's doing all the math and like trigonometry.
But no, like a lot of dogs were bred to hurt other animals. They were bred for hunting. Also, all terriers were bred to hunt vermin, to hunt rats. Like small dogs were bred to hunt them. So they were bred to hurt other animals, yes, but they were never bred to hurt humans. And in fact, the reason why they ended up being such good family dogs is because people specifically bred pit bull type dogs to not be violent or aggressive towards people because humans needed to be able to enter a pit and handle their dogs without being in danger from their dog or other dogs.
Interesting.
Yeah, so pit bulls are really, really good with people for that reason. And obviously this was insured in a fucked up way. Trigger warning, sad dog violence. Dogs that bit humans were killed, and that's how they culled that out of the breeding, which is sad, but it does mean, I'm not saying it's right or it's worth it, but the dogs we're left with today have a very high bite inhibition against humans. It's been centuries of them only breeding the dogs that didn't bite people, basically. And that's only for one specific type of dog that falls under the pit bull umbrella, remember, because there's 4 different types. Meanwhile, the American Staffordshire Terrier, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and the American Bully Dog, those were never involved in any violence at all. They were literally just bred for dog shows and companionship. That's their whole thing. They have no fighting experience. They have no fighting instinct. And in fact, out of 13 different dog breeds tested in one test, pit bulls were the second most tolerant kind of category of dog.
Oh, what was the first?
The first was Labradors.
Oh.
So they are the most tolerant, and then right under them was like the bully breed dogs, pit bull type dogs. And they were actually more tolerant than just a generic mutt mixed breed dog, like a combo of those. And in fact, the general dog population had like a tolerance percentage of 77%, and they just kind of tested them against unexpected situations, and even unexpected situations of strangers. But the pit bull was tolerant 82% of the time.
Oh, wow.
So pit bulls are actually safer to be around in shitty, sketchy situations than an average dog is.
Wow.
Right. And I've definitely seen this before because, I've had a pit bull and a dachshund in some combination now for years. And whenever kids see the pit bull and the dachshund out in public, they'll automatically go to the dachshund because they just think it's safer.
Small.
It's less scary. It's small.
No.
Yeah,
no,
but
no, no,
and
no.
then I always have to be like, no, because in reality, the dachshund is the one more likely to bite you. Like if you pull its tail, if you approach it too aggressively, the dachshund's a hunting dog. It's an aggressive dog, and I can train my dog to act appropriately, but if something unexpected happens that I can't control, like I can't control a child running up to my dog on the street, I can pick my dog up, I can have good instincts, but sometimes if that happens, I have to like get in between them really, really fast, because I'm like, no, your instinct to go to this little dog is wrong. Like, if you want to, and I do try to redirect them. I'm like, why don't you say hi to this dog over here? This dog's really, really nice and loves meeting people. And it's always the pit bull.
And the pit bull would love it.
Yeah, Georgie loves babies, loves kids, loves meeting people. Georgie will let anybody pull her ears, pull her tail, do whatever. And she's just like, haha, nice, But the reality is also that small dogs often feel like prey. So if something taller than them, even if it's a child or a toddler, approaches them too quickly from the top, they're going to go into defense mode because they think they're being attacked, right?
I feel like there's a lot of small dogs that do not do well with children. I will say every Wawa that I've ever watched, no kids allowed.
Right. And dachshunds, that's a big thing too. That's why the dachshund rescue is like, do you have kids in your house? Because a lot of the dogs that they're trying to home do not do well with children. So there was also this peer-reviewed study, which was published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, that observed canine aggression in different types of dog breeds. And they showed that there was no significant difference in aggression between pit bull type dogs and the control group, which is golden retrievers.
Wow.
So pit bulls are the same level of aggression as a golden retriever. So then the question is, why do so many people think that pit bulls are more likely to bite you than other dogs? And there's a few reasons. First of all, there's no such thing as one pit bull. Like, most Americans don't even know that, right? And most Americans just aren't that good at identifying dog breeds. So basically, if you are the kind of person who thinks pit bulls are aggressive and a big mutt of some kind is aggressive to you, you're more likely to be like, it was a pit bull. But it's like, pit bull's not even one thing. So if you don't know that, you definitely don't know what kind of dog you just encountered. You have no way of knowing. And this peer-reviewed study that was published by the Journal of American Veterinary Association concluded that media reports on bite-related incidents are prone to significant breed identification error rates of over 40%.
Oh, wow.
So over half of the things almost half of the things you hear are pit bull attacks or pit bull bites aren't.
Wow.
Somebody just was like, I think it was a pit bull, so it's a pit bull, and it's misidentification. And in fact, when they looked at them, only 17% of the dog bites reported as pit bulls, they concretely knew were pit bulls.
Wow.
So it could be even higher than that. And the reality is that pit bulls are just as likely to be friendly or unfriendly as most other dogs within a range, except for maybe a dachshund, right? Because dachshunds are known to be little assholes. And this one study actually was like, the dogs that are the most likely to be aggressive are dogs with short legs and long bodies, because the same genes that we use to breed them to look like that happens to be next to the genes that have to deal with aggression, and sometimes you just get both.
Whoa.
So that's a reason why dachshunds are actually one of the most aggressive dog breeds.
Interesting.
Yes, as a result of that. And of course, if a pit bull gets into a fight with you, it's probably a lot more athletic and strong than like a basset hound or a dachshund is, right?
Yeah, I could, I'm a lot taller than a dachshund.
Right, if a dachshund gets mad at you, you just pick it up and hold it above your head until it calms down.
Yeah.
You just be like, nope, you're in the air now. What are you going to do?
Until it falls asleep.
Yeah. But if a pit bull gets mad at you, it's going to be harder to pick it up and hold it in the air above your head and just be like, nope.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I would rather have the 35-pound Staffordshire Terrier, who is technically a pit bull breed, mad at me than my best friend's 200-pound Mastiff any day of the week.
Yeah.
I just would. And Georgie's a small pit bull, because Staffies tend to be small, Staffordshires, and she's a Staffy mix.
We could pick her up.
I could pick Georgie
the 200-pound dog where...
No, if that dog's mad at me, there's nothing I can do in that situation.
Yeah,
I can run.
Yeah.
I can climb a tree.
Maybe.
There's that's the thing. So, it's not... All dogs have the potential to be dangerous, especially if they are untrained, if they are frightened, if they are scared, if they haven't been properly socialized. That can happen with any dog breed. And yes, the bigger the dog, the more dangerous it potentially can be to you if it is unsocialized or frightened or uncomfortable or aggressive. That is totally true. And that is why I personally feel more comfortable with small dogs, because I'm like, if this dog is an asshole, I can just pick it up. Okay, you're an asshole over here now. Good luck, have fun. But I try to train them not to be assholes. I don't think like Forky here is. No. She might be reactive. She was guarding my body when she thought I was injured, and I probably have to train that out of her too. But as a general rule, I just think it's interesting how people relate to dogs, because you want to believe that it's something simple. Like, I can categorize this type of dog as going to be aggressive, so I feel safer because I feel in control because I know that's the aggressive dog. But it's like, no, the aggressive dogs, you cannot tell. And that's the thing too, is like, people need to learn how to interact with animals. Like, I had Fork in San Diego, and this little boy ran up to me, and I knew that he was interested in Fork. And I was like, okay, Fork's a new dog. She's pretty reactive. This is going to be bad. So I instinctively picked Fork up when I saw him coming. And he stopped like a good distance from me, and he was like, hello, is your dog friendly? Can I pet your dog? And I was like, oh, do you have a dog at home? Like, because most little kids don't think to do that unless they have a dog at home. And he was like, yes, I have 2 dogs at home. I like them, And I was like, okay, I think you can pet her then. And I was prepared to explain to him how to pet a dog, because I do this sometimes with kids. I'm like, get really low first, get on their level, put their hand out here, I'll help you. So, because Fork's not going to like bite a dog or anything. She just might get scared and bark or bite a kid, She might get scared and bark at the kid and scare it though. So I didn't want that to happen. So I put Fork down, and he got really low, and without me even having to tell him, he reached his hand out slowly, and he pet her in a place where like she wasn't able to hurt him if she got mad or anything. And I was like, wow, you're really good with dogs. And he was like, yeah, my mom taught me how to do this.
Oh, that's
And I'm
nice.
like, oh, okay, if you have kids in a public space and they're interested in dogs, it's like, yeah, I can teach my dog how to interact with your child, but that means that I have to have a child on deck for training at all times. And I don't know children. It's going to be easy for you to also teach your kid, how to properly interact with dogs in a way where they're not scaring them and putting them in that position. So it's just one of those things. It's like, we live in a society and we all have to kind of work together, and there's no way to guess which dogs are safe or aggressive. So you need to approach with like respect and ask questions and get a vibe from the person. And we as like dog owners need to be really honest about what our dogs can handle and have that all be okay. So in reality, the traits of the pit bull breed tend to be that they're great with kids, they're gentle, they're affectionate, they're loyal, they're athletic, and they are protective. That is the thing. So if they think that somebody's going to harm you and you're their person, they will defend you. That is true. And the traits of the American Staffordshire Terrier in particular, which is the little one, which is what Georgie is a lot of, is good-natured, confident, and smart.
Aww.
Yeah. Now we get into the Wawas. So the Chihuahua comes from Mexico, from Chihuahua, Mexico, to be exact. And they're super tiny dogs, right? Under 6 pounds usually. And they're described as being charming, graceful, and sassy.
I would say that, actually.
I could say that too, yeah. I always say if I was an animal, I'd be a long-haired Chihuahua.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah, they're really cute, the long-haired ones. They're good with people, not great with young kids, same as me. They're playful, but also can be hostile, which makes them good watchdogs. They're very high energy, they like stimulation, and they get bored easily. And they are, of course, very vocal, right? We all know that. And that's also just me. So I have an affinity for Chihuahuas. I like them. I think we need to defend the Chihuahuas at all costs. And obviously, I think when we think about Chihuahuas, we just think about, like, the dog in Paris Hilton's purse, Tinkerbell.
And there probably were numerous Tinkerbells.
That's the conspiracy theory, that there were a number of Tinkerbells. Yeah. And also the Yokiro Taco Bell dog from Taco Bell Labs.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Then there's also Mastiffs, right? So my friend's dog, who's named Pig, who's over 200 pounds. He's huge. He's so sweet, such a baby. But he's a 200-pound dog that drools on everything. And Mastiffs are thought to be dignified, good-natured, and courageous. And these dogs, though, as a dog breed, are, like, really old. This is, like, one of the original dog breeds.
Interesting.
Yeah, they were originally used as war dogs or as guardians. They also were used to fight lions, bears, tigers, bulls, and other dogs for entertainment, which is really fucked up. Just like the pit bull, but they don't have that bad reputation like the pit bull, even though they're bigger and arguably scarier and did the same things.
Yeah, I think definitely would get most fucked up by a Mastiff.
Yes, also probably Mastiffs are just misidentified as pit bulls.
That could be true, yeah. Although I don't think I've ever seen an aggressive Mastiff, but I've also never seen an aggressive pit bull in real life.
No, me neither. The The Mastiffs are very sweet and gentle. I have seen my friend's Mastiff get excited about something and run really fast while barking at someone. And it was so wild. It was in the park, and I'd never seen him do that before. He broke his leash because he was 200 pounds. He just saw somebody, he started going, really scary, running towards the guy. If I was a guy, I would have flipped out. But the guy just instinctively, like, got down on his knees and put his hands in the air for the dog. And then Pig ran up to him and started licking his face. And the guy was, like, laughing. And my friend was like, how did you know to do that? And he was like, oh, I grew up with dogs. His tail was wagging. I could tell he was just feeling playful. And I'm like, wow. Because it looked scary. He's huge. He's a 200-pound dog, you know?
Wow.
Yeah,
and he just ran up to this guy being like, I like your vibe,
yeah,
man.
he just liked his vibe. Totally. It was wild, though. It's the only time I'd ever seen the dog do that. But yeah, they're just like good, gentle babies. They're giant slobbery babies.
Yeah.
They slobber on everything, but they're so cute. There's also pugs, which you talked about. Pugs were bred to be companions to Chinese emperors, and their lineage goes back to 400 BC.
Wow.
They are very, very special royal dogs. They're super loving. They're lap dogs and guardians, and their wrinkles on their face were designed to mimic the Chinese character for prince.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the story. Who knows how true that is, but yeah.
Wow.
Because they're royalty. And the last one I did for you, Kenna, the Chinese crested.
Oh.
Your ideal dog. They're described as being alert, lively, and affectionate. I feel like that's you. I feel like that describes you. So the Chinese crested is thought to have evolved from African hairless dogs and then bred down to be smaller by the Chinese to mimic other popular toy breeds they had, like Shih Tzus and Pekingese. And the legend is that sailors would travel with these dogs around the world, and they would trade and sell the puppies with merchants at different ports. And there might be some evidence to back this up because they do tend to be very popular in practice at port sites to this day. And during the plague, people would bring them on ships, and they would hunt the rats on the board of the ships to try to keep everybody safe from the plague. So as early as the 1500s, people started spotting these dogs in Mexico and Central and South America. So they are considered super global dogs, and they do predate kind of that 1800s Victorian dog breed categorization. They've traveled around a lot. By the 1800s, though, they did start appearing in like European paintings and European documentation of dog breeds. And this is just a few of like the over 400 dog breeds available today. And you can see there's a lot of variety in their personality and traits and even appearances. We didn't get too much into it, but you could hear from the descriptions. Like, yeah, a Chihuahua and a Mastiff are really fucking different.
Yeah, even like, and a Chinese crested and a pit bull.
Yeah, exactly. If you looked at them, if you were like an alien who came to Earth and you saw a Chinese crested and like a pit bull, or a Chinese crested and like, I don't know, like an Alaskan Malamute, you wouldn't be like, that's the same thing.
I would only be asking one question, and that is, how do they wear pants? Is it only 2 paws in the back, or is it all 4 paws in 4 legs of the pants?
Up to the
That
chest.
is the real question.
That is the real question. But, we have more variations emerging today. Because we're in the era of the hybrid designer dog.
Yeah.
And you know all about this, right? This is the newest trend. And I think you were telling me about this in particular because we were talking about the Labradoodle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So these kinds of combo dogs, this is really popular. It might be like the Golden Doodle or the Puggle, right? Golden Retriever and a Poodle, or like is a Puggle like a... What is a puggle?
Poodle and a pug?
A poodle and a pug? That makes sense, yeah. And the goal would be to combine the best features of 2 different breeds, right? Oh, a puggle is a pug and a beagle.
What?
Yes, it is.
How does that even look? I guess I'll look it up later.
Maybe it's the giant pug.
Oh. Whoa. Did I solve a mystery?
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, the dog that really kicked all of this off was the Labradoodle, which is a mix between a Labrador and a poodle. Okay, so Kenna, do you want to explain the great tale of the Labradoodle?
Well, I mean, to me, it's just, somebody did, a Labrador and a poodle crossed together. They made them do it, and then they got a Labradoodle.
Well, the guy, Wally Conran, wanted the personality of the Labrador combined with the hypoallergenic coat of the poodle.
Yes.
Yes, and in 2019, he came forward and he said he regretted doing it because he opened a Pandora's box and released a Frankenstein's monster. And he really mixed some metaphors there, but I think we get the idea. And he bred this dog originally for a blind woman whose husband was allergic to pet dander back in 1989. right? Because poodles are hypoallergenic because they have hair, not fur, and Labradors are good seeing eye dogs. But Conran says, why people are breeding them today, I haven't got a clue. I find that the biggest majority are either crazy or have a hereditary problem.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw someone on TikTok today being like, I don't know why people make such a huge fuss about Labradoodles, because you can literally just get a standard poodle.
Yeah, standard poodles are so sick. They're so cool. But he said that unethical, ruthless breeders were meeting the new demand for this dog, and it accidentally had become a marketing sensation, and it was like ruining the world. So Conrad said, I've done a lot of damage, and I've created a lot of problems. Because basically, he accidentally created a marketing gimmick for this dog. He called it a doodle, right? And this led to a lot of people getting like, really excited about it. And then next thing you know, unscrupulous people are setting up puppy mills, and backyard breeders start breeding them for bucks. And then we've got this glut of unstable dogs, and many eventually had to be euthanized. And that was just the start. Like, soon other combo designer dogs started popping up everywhere, like the Cockapoo, which my ex had, which was very, very sweet. But also, then there's the Maltipoo, then there's the Yorkie Poo, then there's the Chiweenie, then there's the Chug.
What's a Chug? Oh, a Chihuahua Pug.
Yeah.
The Chug.
It's a great name. It's a really good name. And all these names made them sound like really catchy, and, people were excited. But this kind of begs the question, how is capitalism interacting with dog breeding today?
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of unethical breeders out there.
There's a lot of bad shit happening to dog breeding today, honestly. So Aeon did kind of an exploration of this, and they said the advent of dog shows drove the creation of Breed. The groups running these events and driving changes were styled the dog fancy, and the aficionados of the new canines doggy people. Breed standards were contingent and contested, decided as competition selected the best dogs in each class. Owners gained prestige and some income from sales and stud fees. Competition at shows and in the market drove specialization, and a specialization of ideal forms, standardization in the designs of physical conformations, objectification and viewing dogs' bodies as made up of parts, commodification in promoting dogs as tradable goods, differentiation in the proliferation of breeds, and alienation as ability and character became secondary to form. Mm-hmm. So really, what we're seeing here is that this thing that used to be kind of special, like, oh my god, we have these little human friends, like these dogs, they're our creatures, they're our buddies, is now becoming less and less about the bond and the experience, and it's more becoming just an object you buy.
Yeah.
Right. So these dogs that were, for example, best in show or the best expression of breed became huge commodities worth thousands of dollars. And my little Fork here, she was free. She was free to me. A secondhand dog, a thrifted dog, if you will. That's what we say. But she is a purebred dachshund and probably cost her original owner anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000.
Whoa, that's like a used car.
It is. It's a car. And you can see why some dog people became trader professionals, and dog breeding began to dominate the upper class when originally it had been that really kind of fucked up bottom of the barrel kind of working class thing. Not that working class people are fucked up, obviously, but dog fighting's fucked up, But then it became this really snooty thing. And I would say that once it became something that was enjoyed by the bourgeoisie, it became even more violent and destructive to dogs, just in different ways, which we'll get into. So Alan broke this down further by saying doggy people were gentlemen, because women weren't allowed to do this originally, amateurs, and trader professionals. The former, predominantly from the upper classes, defined themselves as dog lovers. They were the men who were themselves of the right breeding. I like that little pun in there. They claimed to be interested only in the long-term improvement of the nation's dogs and saw themselves in a struggle against entrepreneurs, whom they styled as dog dealers, interested only in short-term profit and social success. Dog breeds were associated with class and gender. Sporting dogs were favored by the upper classes, even though few show dogs were used in the field. Middle-class owners wanted fashionable breeds that indicated status and wealth. Ladies favored toy breeds, as well as adopting fashion icons such as the bourgeois. There were working-class fanciers, particularly with bulldogs, terriers, and whippets. National identities were also evident. For example, there were struggles over the differentiation of the Skye from other terriers, and whether immigrants such as Newfoundlands, Great Danes, and Basset Hounds had been improved sufficiently to count as British. And this was back in the original British dog show days. So what they're really talking about here is that once dog breeding and like the idea of dog ownership entered kind of the cultural zeitgeist following industrialization, dog breeding then collided with capitalism in a way that so commodified dogs that they became a thing to profit from and also a signifier of your wealth. And I'm pretty sure Marx would have something interesting to say about commodity fetishism in the dog market, right? But Kenna, do you remember how French bulldogs were the most popular dog breed in 2022?
Yes.
Okay, so some people think that French bulldogs today, that their whole situation is indicative of the very harmful ways that capitalism has intersected with dog breeding.
Yeah, I feel like they have a hard time breathing.
There's a lot of stuff going on with the French bulldogs. So El País wrote about this in a really interesting way. Just another trigger warning, the next 15 seconds or so will contain a description of bad things happening to dogs. So if you don't want to hear that, hit fast forward on the 15-second button, you know. But Enrique Alpañas reported, in June 2020, a Ukrainian international airline plane landed in Toronto. From the outside, it looked like a normal flight, but inside, a hellish scene was unfolding. 500 French bulldog puppies were crying in their cages, many were dehydrated, weak and panting, and 38 of them were dead. Yeah. The popularity of the French bulldog led to such an enormous rise in demand that the dogs were being illegally trafficked into the country.
Whoa.
And in the last decade, French bulldog registrations increased by over 1,000% in the United States alone, according to the AKC.
Whoa.
So Alpaña says dogs have been commodified and are governed by the laws of supply and demand. But unlike most consumer goods, there aren't factories that can mass produce dogs. If customers want more puppies of a certain breed, the fastest way is to increase crossbreeding or bring in contraband. In addition to Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Hungary, Serbia, Romania, and Bulgaria serve as unscrupulous international breeders, according to a report on puppy smuggling recently done by the NGO Dogs Trust.
Whoa, I never even thought about puppy smuggling.
Me neither. And Alpañas reports that the nature of purebred dog breeding is by nature restrictive. There are only so many purebred dogs, and you want to avoid inbreeding as much as possible to ensure that the dogs are healthy. However, research at the Imperial College London recently showed that the gene pool of the 10,000 registered pugs in the UK was so limited that it's actually the equivalent of just around 50 dogs.
Whoa! Like,
yeah, they are so inbred that they've begun to develop genetic defects, and it's getting worse the longer it goes on. It's so bad, in fact, that the Netherlands has banned issuing pedigrees for French bulldogs and pugs altogether.
Whoa! So like, everyone's just
yeah. And of course, the American Kennel Club is like, no, the AKC, right? They're like, breeders are prioritizing maintaining, preserving the breed for history. But it's really hard to accept that as truth when you look at the price to purchase a purebred French bulldog puppy today, which is between $5,000 and $20,000.
What the fuck? No wonder they were smuggling in puppies.
Yeah, and stealing Lady Gaga's dogs.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes.
That's wild. Because, like, to me, I'm just like, that's fucked up to steal, like, you know, what was it, like 3 dogs? But I'm like, that could be between $45,000 and $60,000.
Yes, it could. And because they're so expensive, they're a status symbol for buyers, and it's a way for breeders to make a lot of money. So Henry Mance, who's a Financial Times journalist and author of the book How to Love Animals in a Human-Shaped World, says French bulldogs and pugs are the clearest example that there is something wrong with this industry. One other factor with French bulldogs is their notoriously short snout, which is bred to meet consumer demand, but is not great for the dogs in terms of health, like you touched on kind of with their breathing.
Yeah, they just get the sniffles.
Yeah, so this also touches into that thing you were talking about earlier about why we like dogs with flat faces and big eyes.
Oh, because they look like babies.
It all ties in together. So people like snub-nosed dogs because it does this thing called pet face, which is similar to baby face in humans. Yeah, so it's the type of face that French and English bulldogs have, that Cavalier King Charles Spaniels have, and that pugs have, which is huge heads with big bulging eyes, and they do kind of look like human babies. I don't think they look like human babies, but people think they look like human babies.
I feel like the Cavalier, the King Charles Cavalier, they do have human eyes to me.
Okay, I think those dogs are cute. I like those dogs.
No, like, I think they're really cute, but like when I look at one, I'm like, you have human eyes.
Yeah, it knows too much. They know too much. I think they're very, But snub-nosed dogs, yeah, they do end up with those serious breathing problems you mentioned. Like, it's difficult to take them out for a walk if temperatures go above 86 degrees Fahrenheit without them getting overheated. They pant between gasps instead of just breathing. Most airlines have banned them from flying because several of them have died on flights. They require more veterinary care than other dogs, and humans have to clean their wrinkles out to prevent yeast and bacterial infections. People also need to assist with the birthing process for more to even be made, because up to 94% need a C-section because of the large size of the puppy's heads compared to the mother's small size pelvis. Their ears are prone to infection. They have sleep apnea and often need to sleep with their heads propped up on something so they don't choke.
You know what? When I lived in Portland for a while, I had to babysit my boyfriend's sister's pug and Boston Terrier. Oh my God, those dogs snored.
Yeah, and people are like, it's cute, they snore, but it's like, no, your dog is like, actually struggling to breathe.
I did not realize at the time. I was just like, how are these dog snorers like the size of a full human person?
Yeah. It's really intense. And these dogs face a more than 100% increase in the likelihood of having corneal ulcers or ocular trauma.
Oh, I know about that one. I won't go into it.
Yes. They also have an over 80% uptick in the likelihood of skin cancer or fungal skin disease, and a more than 100% uptick in pneumonia and heat stroke. Yeah, so as the French Bulldog was climbing the list of the most popular dogs, its life expectancy also started decreasing. Maybe due to issues with its breathing. So, like, according to a study by the Royal Veterinary College in Hatfield, UK, which investigated 30,000 dogs, it's the breed with the shortest life expectancy amongst 18 breeds analyzed, and it now averages just 4.5 years of life expectancy. So some people are like, well, maybe that average lifespan is, like, not reported accurately, but they didn't have a really great lifespan before this. It was more like you said, 6.5 years before.
That's not long for
which
a
is
dog.
Also bad. So it's not actually shocking that it would have gone down to 4.5 years. And Dan O'Neill, the director of the study, told New Scientist magazine, French Bulldogs are flat-faced and cute, but the cost is that they live shorter lives and have trouble blinking and breathing for all of their lives.
Yeah, I saw on TikTok, too, that there are some people who are trying to breathe the snout back into pugs.
I've seen this, too,
so they can breathe.
Yeah, which they have to do if they want the breed to succeed.
Yeah. And they call them, like, I feel like they call them, like, old style or, like, OG.
Legacy or something.
Yeah, like OG pugs. It's like...
Yeah. Because they have changed over time.
Yeah, because they're like, if you look at, like, old portraits of pugs, they have a little snout.
They do, yeah. And it's not just French Bulldogs, although French Bulldogs are epitomizing the issue right now. Studies have found that in general, the more a dog has been modified to suit human taste, the shorter its overall life expectancy is.
Aww.
Yeah, so Cocker Spaniels also have not necessarily life expectancy things, but just like health concerns. Their brains are prone to being too large for their skulls. Boxers are increasingly prone to epilepsy. German Shepherds suffer from hip and elbow dysplasia. And my beloved Dachshunds, they can suffer from spinal cord damage, which thank goodness Modog managed to make it 16 years without that. But, you know, I had to carefully train her to never jump on or off furniture. I even taught her to brace her body for me in a way that I could lift her properly when she needed to get in and out of a car. Like, it does take all of this work. And basically, the more popular a dog gets, the more doomed the puppies are. Breeders get fast and loose with breeding regulations. They resort to more inbreeding. They increase the chances that puppies will therefore encounter genetic mutations. And it's this weird display of doggy eugenics to create these super purebred dogs, but it's actually breeding more health problems into the dogs, and it's all kind of a cash grab. Once they get popular, you want to put as many out there as possible so you can rake in the cash. And what it even means to be purebred is kind of getting dystopian and fucked up. And the Smithsonian talks about this, and they say, the most important requirements for a purebred dog is that its entire pedigree, its whole family tree, is recorded in a stud book. The original idea was to only breed from the best. Ironically, this attempt at creating healthier, more ideal dogs actually paved the way for more and more devastating genetic diseases. Breeding from only the same line means inbreeding, which results in a buildup of the recessive genes that cause common non-conformation related brachycephalic. This is the type of dogs with the flat nose things. I think it's
like brachials.
Brachycephalic, I think. Those dog diseases like heart disease and skin issues. It also diminishes genetic variability, which protects populations from being wiped out by one catastrophic event. In other words, this kind of breeding is a double-edged sword. It means desirable features are kept, but undesirable disease-causing genes can also be fixed within the breed. So, as time goes on, that's why we see breed features also get more exaggerated, like you were talking about, like the old school pugs had a snout, and now there's no snout. Flat noses get flatter, big dogs get bigger, small dogs get smaller, and so on. And Alpanius talked about this and said, the system is so perverse that philosophers like Gary Francois are against the mere existence of pets, based on the notion that the capitalist system has turned animals into property goods that can be speculated on. The development of pure breeds facilitated the sale of pets. A mongrel dog was not worth much, but a purebred could be sold for a lot of money. A business, doggy capitalism, was invented out of nothing. At first, purebred dogs were a whim, a rich person's extravagance. But as Mark Durr explains in his book, A Dog's History of America, over the course of the 20th century, the wheels of machinery began to turn. Mass production of everything, cars, clothes, meat, improved, and purebred dogs became just another consumer item available to a burgeoning middle class. So, meanwhile, around 2.7 million dogs and cats are killed each year in the United States because people shop instead of adopting. And there's a surplus of dogs available on the market. And this one's really sad. 93% of pit bulls in shelters end up euthanized, which just makes me think about Georgie and what a good, sweet dog she is. And it just, breaks my fucking heart. Between 37 to 47% of households in the U.S. have a dog, but only 10% of dogs born today will find a permanent home. Yeah, we're making too many dogs. It's also sad about Georgie, for example, because when my boyfriend was taking Georgie to work with him every day people would come in and be like, this is the best dog I've ever seen, like, and try to buy her off of him. And he'd be like, the price to take her is $1 million. Like, she's my dog. I love her. She's my family. But I think so many people would be happy with, like, a sheltered pit bull if they even considered it as an option. Instead we have an oversupply of dogs. People keep making more dogs, and we're not finding homes for the ones that exist. Around 3.9 million dogs were abandoned or given up every year. And out of those, 14% of the dogs surrendered. It has to do with housing issues for the owners. 10% it's due to the death of an owner. 8% it's due to aggression in the pet. 7% it's due to the owner's financial situation. And even when pets are then rescued or adopted, 60% are no longer in their adoptive homes just 6 months later after the adoption happens.
Oh.
Which is probably why when I got Fork, her previous owner, who I call her mom, who loved her so much but had to give her up because she didn't realistically have the time and support at home to take care of her at the level she hoped, she made me promise. She said, if this doesn't work out, you have to bring her back to me. So I have the opportunity to find her another owner. And when she said that, I was like, why wouldn't it work out? Like, I said yes. Like, she's my dog now. Like, that's it. We're in family forever. But now I get it. A lot of people adopt dogs and they're just like, nah, it's harder than I thought. Here you go. Which is not to say her, because she gave it a try for a really long time and she cared a lot and she really wanted to make sure her dog found a good home. But I think a lot of people do underestimate the amount of care it's going to take. And like, that woman was a dog lover. She wanted to give her dog up to someone else who was a dog lover because she just wanted her dog to have the best life possible. But I think other people maybe underestimate or refuse to like put in the very simple work that it would take to have their dog in a good home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it is capitalism to, it's like in our minds to treat pets as like purses, Right. Not everybody, but like, there's probably a reason why certain breeds are so important, and it's not just because of their temperament, like right. French bulldogs, because they have a lot of problems. They tend to die very soon. Like, they're very expensive. And to me, if there's so many being sold, that means that this is considered a luxury consumer good,
right,
and not an actual companion.
Yes, and that's like Fork's original mom. She even said, she's like, there's supposed to be like a $200 service fee to the website that like facilitated the exchange. She's like, I'm not going to do that. It feels like selling a dog. You don't sell a member of your family. She's like, I'm doing this because I love my dog so much and I want her to have the best life possible. And like, I just don't think at this time I'm as equipped to give it as I thought I would. And like, I think you'll be able to give it, And she was like, I'm not even gonna tell the website that you took the dog because it feels so wrong to sell this dog. But like, that's the thing. It's like she viewed her dog as a family member that she loved and wanted to have the best life possible. And other people are viewing them as objects that don't fit into their lifestyle, which I think is fine. It's better than you abusing a dog. But then you have to really think about, where is this dog going to end up if not with you? Where's it going to go? Are you really committed to sticking it through and making sure the dog ends up in a home with someone who loves it and cares about it and wants it?
It is sad because I think a lot of people, do think that they're equipped to have a dog and then don't realize, that maybe they're not doing the best for their animal, like in terms of like dogs require a lot of grooming, they require maintenance, like you really should train every single dog, like at least the very basics, which is like, heel, just the very, like, to not attack other people for safety reasons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think about this, I think sometimes people think they have to be perfect dog owners, and
nobody has to be perfect. And if you have an aggressive dog, some people are like, I know I have an aggressive dog, I just don't let it around kids or other dogs.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, like, if you're getting a dog from a shelter that would otherwise die, like, as long as you're nice to the dog, you're probably giving it a better life.
Yes, exactly.
And, like, you just be nice to the dog. But if you're shopping around for, like, a designer purebred dog, I think that to me, the thing I think is, like, look, even purebred dogs end up in shelters. 25% of all dogs currently in shelters are purebred.
Wow.
So I would just say, if you are like me and you want to get a specific breed, like I wanted to get a dachshund because I understand them. I know what to expect. They kind of work with my lifestyle, my home environment. I don't think it's crazy to want a dog that best fits into your lifestyle, because the more likely you are to get a dog that fits in with your lifestyle, the more likely you are to have it forever. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's good. You want to keep that dog forever. You want it to be a member of your family. And certain breeds are just more conducive to certain people's lives. I could not get a high energy dog that needs to run on a farm. I live in a city. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to take a dog on a farm to go running. So I think that's okay with wanting a specific type of dog breed if it's because there are traits about it that will work in your life better. But I mean, this is from data and from my own experiences. I think you can find the purebred dog you want secondhand. You can find it from a person who's like, oh shit, like this is harder than I thought and I don't have the time for it. Or you can find it from even a shelter. If 1 in 4 dogs in a shelter is a purebred dog, mm-hmm. like you can find what you're looking for if you just put a little more time and energy into trying to adopt instead of just shopping for a dog.
And you might also realize that, who knows, maybe like personality is more important, or vibe, or size, or you might think that like, oh, I really want this certain breed of dog, and then you might walk away being like, oh my gosh, this other dog I got is a perfect buddy, and it's not what I imagined,
and it's not what you thought it would be. That's totally true. I think though, like, however you think about it, right, like we humans, we made dogs. They need us to survive.
Yeah,
they can't survive without us. We specifically bred them to fit in with our environment and be a part of our life. And like, I think the least we can do when looking for a new dog for our home is try to find one that already needs a place to go first. And like, that's the one thing that, like, if I could encourage anybody to do, it's like, remember that capitalism has turned dogs into a commodity. It's something we're fetishizing for their rarity, or using as a status symbol, or buying or selling for a profit. When in reality, they've always been just companions and friends, mm-hmm. and you're not supposed to buy and sell a friend, So just, I'm very, whatever. It's like an adopt, don't shop thing. It's just, there are so many dogs that need homes, and like, they're only here because we did this to them, Yeah. And I just feel like you can usually get what you want if you have a little patience and you're looking in places where people are relinquishing dogs they're not able to care for. And also just the importance of spaying dogs and neutering dogs. I just think all of that is really important to help, like, quell the population, because there's just so many dogs that need homes already. And I would say, if you have the space and capacity for a slightly larger dog, pit bulls are good dogs, man.
Yeah, they
are good dogs. Like, and they don't necessarily have to be large. Like, if you look at Staffordshire Terriers, they tend to be small. They tend to be in the 30-pound range.
Yeah.
They're a medium-sized dog, and they're good dogs. So, I don't know. That was my episode on dogs, and it bummed me out in the end, and I got sad.
Oh.
Because I was just thinking about Georgie and all the pit bulls in the shelters. But I think it is interesting how, like, to me, it just started out being like, dogs are such a special thing we did. That's so cool, we did that. And then it's like, oh, and then capitalism is turning it into like a fucking bloodlust shit show.
Oof.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have any final thoughts on the dog episode?
I love doggies.
I like doggies. I think they're nice. And Fork is just all curled up, all sweet and angelic.
And nothing against cats. We're just very allergic.
Your cat could kill us, which I respect that. I respect that in a cat. I think it should try to kill me.
So, apologies to the cat people. We're so allergic.
We're so allergic. Maybe we'll do an episode on cats one day, though.
Yeah.
You know, the cats I've met that I do respect, I'm like, you're interesting.
Yeah, I like a cat. They have to be hairless at this point.
And shave all of the cats is Kenna's takeaway, so she can pet them.
Don't shave them. Don't shave them. Please don't. I mean, unless you're a professional groomer, then do what you have to.
Maybe. I don't know how cats work. All right, that's the episode. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Pick Me Up, I'm Scared. If you would like to join us on Patreon, you can find us there at patreon.com/pickmeupimscared. For $3 a month, you can access bonus content there. But if $3 a month is too much for you to spend right now, we totally get it, and we're just happy you're here. As always, you can find the sources for this week's episode just by scrolling down a bit in the description.